It's been a long journey. You've watched the red pill go from a nice internet space where guys talked openly and honestly to a clown show of white claws, Bugattis, human trafficking, and yelling at OnlyFans girls for clout. These are the stories of the good times. The church failed to help. Family failed to help. Feminism had 3 generations and failed miserably. Men do what men gotta do. We get together and do it ourselves. These are our stories.
Rhinestone, another fucking fact.
Praxeology, Volume 3, on Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook.
Who is this guy?
'79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take 1.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.
Hey, it's one of those mornings. It's one of those mornings. Isn't that every morning? Yeah, it's every morning. I'm not putting on the glasses today. Whatever. We're chilling. It's Bants. It's Bants and we're chilling. Welcome. It's Red Morning. It's good to see you guys this morning. Who's on the chat? I haven't even taken a look yet. Seen who's all here. God knows you're the reason I keep doing this thing. Least I should do is take a look and see what you're blathering about. Some LFGs, that's good. Fucking right, boys. Right on. That's such a Canadian thing. Fucking right. I see a Seal Amory. What's up there? It's a couch party episode today. It's the boyos. Greetings from Orc City. Congratulations on the release. Got my digital pre-order on the old Kindle app. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been taking a look. It's nice. It's, like, first couple days you can never tell. Because the first couple days of the month on ACX and Amazon specific, the numbers get all messed up, so they change pretty significantly once they've had a few days to sort through things. Having said that, yeah, I'm curious to see if it's going to be a bigger hit than Dog Walker was or not, because I will find it, my guesstimate is, like, it's science fiction, so it should do better than contemporary fiction for men. I will laugh if it doesn't, and Dog Walker continues to be the front runner of the fiction books. It'll make me laugh, because then it's like, oh, looks like guys do want slice of life comedies, and start doing anime. If you wear a New York Jets head, how do you expect something good to happen? What the hell? But anyways, yes, thank you, John. I appreciate it a lot. Like I said, it's far from finished. Like, I'm done, but it's far from finished, because I've been learning slowly over the years that you will spend 3 times the amount of work writing that you spent writing something on convincing people it's worth their time to read it. It is what it is. I see a lot of people complaining about that. Dude, Substack is amazing. You get to see every single writer who doesn't do shit with it. It's like the manosphere, in the sense that you have, like, these guys talk about being alpha males, and you know how every 3 months, like Myron or Tate or Ivan Throne or Jack Murphy or whoever would challenge somebody to a boxing match, and then we get all this hype and everybody wants to buy tickets, and then like 2 weeks later, once everybody's got their upvotes, it just disappears and nobody's boxed. Like, Ed Lattimore and Tanner Guzzi are the only 2 guys who ever threw hands in this space. There has been 30 challenges for boxing matches, 30 setups for it, 30 venues saying, yeah, we got you, and 2 people showed up. 2. So in the same sense, that's the same thing with watching writers on Substack, which it makes me enjoy, because it makes me feel better, because, oh, you finished your job? What an idiot. But yeah. So, Taken. Oh, Guten Taken et tu aussi. Did you get your copy of Softbone yet? Oh no, you wait, right? You know what's funny? I haven't even gotten mine yet. Like, I have my author copies here, but it's a different cover now than this one. But this is the one I got, because I noticed I didn't want to screw over Canadians. So when you put your pricing thing in, you're just like, how much do you want to charge for this? Just so you know, if you put it in this window, your royalties are good and for bad. Amazon basically corrals you into a certain price point, right? 10 for Kindle, 20 for paperback, and 30 for hardcover. If you stray outside of that, it basically, unless you like double the cost of it or double the sales, you're going to lose money. So I kind of like it. It's kind of like YouTube where it's like, it's the ads, you get the ads you get. Anyway, so I put it in, 10, 20, 30. And then I go and I look at the Canadian one because I was going to order some of mine. And I was like, $27 in Canada. I'm like, oh, that can't be right. And I look, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot how bad we fucked our economy. Oh. So I had to go in and switch the price. I'm like, no, Canada, 20. I can't do that to you. So now it's got to take a day or two to approve this. There's always somebody on the other end who's got to make things done. And then, if you guys can believe this, unpublished change. Oh, for fuck's sakes. If you can believe this, at the same time yesterday, they finally approved Dog Walker's audiobook. So that's awesome. So that's like 2 releases today, which is stupid. They need to be spread out, but whatever, here we are. So if you've been curious about the Dog Walker contemporary fiction for men, but you just don't have the time and can't be bothered to read, it's fine. I'll read it to you. You'll read it to me? I will read it to you. I don't even mind. The whole point of buying all this really expensive equipment was to be able to use it. This was all this stuff. Like, I didn't buy this microphone for this podcast. I could have still kept with the Blue Yeti. It's in a box somewhere. No, this is here for audiobooks and writing off on whatever. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are coming out with stuff, too. So Ed Lattimore's got his book coming out on the 5th. I'm going to do a little promo for him because I always like seeing Ed do well. Ed's one of the few people I can say is like a friend of mine from the convention days. There's like him and John and Rollo and Rich. I guess pretty much everybody from the convention. Yeah. But anyways, it's good to see. Oh, maybe my package has arrived. Nice. All right. So that is going to be good news. My paperback copy will arrive on Monday. Like I said, I think you're going to enjoy it. The problem with this one is it's 8.5 by 5.5. And I wanted 8 by 5. But it's the same size as the Dog Walker. Like I said, when it comes to this stuff, and I know we're going to talk about sexual strategy stuff too, but for now I gotta swoon over this because like I'm really proud of the work. I was realizing everybody was doing 6x9s, and 6x9 is like the trade standard right now, and for nonfiction that was fine. And then I kind of looked at these ones, I'm like you can't fit it in your hand. You have to hold it in your hand, and I don't have the biggest hands, but I've got adult-sized hands. You hold it in your hand, and then the page curves up, so can't really read it, so you have to kind of roll the thing. And I'm like, you know what? If I just make it 8 by 5, it fits in your hand. You open it up, and you can scan the thing. You don't have to move your eyes too much. It keeps you from getting tired. I'm like, dude, why am I not doing this more? So this one was a 1/2 inch off. It caused a huge amount of hassle, but that's fine. We fixed that. But it is interesting to see there's all this, like all these little details that go into stuff. And this isn't just about the book. This is about like red pill stuff on a marriage. This is about your job in general. Yeah, I get it. Right now the economy's kind of fucked, but I'm talking about a principle thing here where the details matter. The details are the hidden strength of anything. Like I even think of like old school Steve Jobs iPhone stuff where he wanted the tablet to be extra thin. And remember that story? They always tell that one. Oh, this tablet's not thin enough. They're like, sir, we'd have no more room in it. He throws it in a fish tank and bubbles start coming out. He's like, see all that air? That's space. And then I guess he had to grind down the aluminum to like a millimeter size, as thin as possible, to get this thing to be the perfect size for Weish kids to sit at Starbucks and bitch about capitalism on it. And it worked. Like, you can shit on Steve Jobs for being an absolute asshole, but his absolute dedication to like the details really did pay off for them. And it's the same thing here. Like I said, it's the one thing I did that was a bit of an experiment, and this is going to sound like nerdy as hell. I haven't had my annual typography talk with Rollo yet, which maybe we're due. I should probably go on there. I'll give him a shout. I normally use Caslon as the font type for the book, the typeface. And the reason why is because it's been around since like the 1600s. It is considered to be the most readable of text. You know, a bunch of eggheads did some experiments on that. The one I'm using now is called Adobe Jensen. And Jensen is considered to be the second best, but it looks more modern. So I don't think, and like I've read it, so I don't think it should have an effect on you, because here's the problem. If you use a bad typeface choice, you won't notice anything. You can't tell the difference between one typeface or another. But here's something you do notice. When you're reading, I'm sure you guys have seen this, technical manuals, fiction, whatever you read. At some point, you're like, your eyes start to get, like when you start doing this shit, that's usually because they've made some mistakes in the design. The spaces are too wide, so your eye has to move too far to reach individual line, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you're doing it 100,000 times in a book. So yeah, it eventually wears you down. Or the typeface is too hard to differentiate between characters and words, because we don't read letters. We read words. It's like pattern recognition. And little things like that. Problem is, if you don't space them, it's called leading. And if you don't space them close enough together, it tires your eyes. But if you put them too close together, you get what's called rubber banding, which you've probably seen when you're reading a book or reading something and you realize you've read the same line twice or 3 times. And that's because they're so close together, your eye doesn't like naturally flow to the next line. There's very interesting, fascinating stuff on this one. I absolutely love it. By the way, Praxeology, or not Praxeology Volume 3, that one's out too, and it's doing well, and Dogwalker's doing well. I'm shilling Softbone today. Softbone is out, hardcover, paperback, and that. I see it on Amazon UK. Oh, that's good. $14.91 paperback and $22 for hardback. I think that works out. Yeah, Jobs' life led to the movie, which led to Seth Rogen being talked down to like trash. I'm ever thankful for that. Dude, Seth Rogen has done more damage to Canada than Justin Trudeau. Which makes sense that he is Canadian, because everybody hates him. Yeah, so if you haven't got it, look at it. I understand. There is going to be a percentage of people that get it because they like the videos. They like seeing me run my mouth about, whamming ain't shit. They like my shit post, and it's a way of supporting the channel. That's fine. I don't begrudge you for like just buying it for merch. But you really do yourself a disservice by not reading it. I've been getting some feedback, actually, from some of the people. Like, I know, and we DM a lot. Like, one I don't want to say from who. Like, it's private messages, but what was he saying? I want to get the wording right. It was kind of funny. Even the wife thought your line about the 80 HDQ plus was funny. Look at this. And here, Helvetica is my... Oh, fuck off, Bones. Helvetica... Okay, Helvetica... This is like a... Look, I get it if you're going to tune out here. I get it. Helvetica is a Swiss font developed in the, I want to say, the 1960s. And if you don't know, when it comes to design, Swiss were the champions after the Second World War. They developed minimalism, IKEA stuff, like all of that stuff is... Anyways, Helvetica is their baby. And if you're using what's called a sans serif font, which means, the serifs, the little notches, like Roman letters, how they have those little notches at the top and bottom of letters. That was there because back in the day, if you had just a straight I, it would chip and break off. So they put these things on there to allow the wording to weather better on stone. But it turns out the human eye is kind of like evolved for reading that clearer, because it creates better lines. Those are called serifs. Anyways, Helvetica is known as the sans serif font. If you want vanilla pudding of sans serif, use Helvetica. Which was hilarious because like Mac users got hated on Windows users because they had Arial, which Arial is just Microsoft making a Temu version of Helvetica. I really shouldn't have gone down this rabbit hole, man. I'm even boring myself. Ah! Yeah. And in fairness, you can't go wrong with it. It's like if you're an infrastructure guy, nobody ever got fired for suggesting IBM. And nobody ever got fired. Like, you go with the basics, right? Even though I'm more of a Franklin Gothic guy. Anyways, enough of that. Oh, God, we had a packaging design teacher made us walk a dock on Helvetica. It was so slow. It is. Yeah. But Anyways, there's all these little choices you have to make, and that's the part I think this is the part I love the best about writing. It's not telling stories, although that is like the part of it. It's an unending series of decisions and problems, of which there is no right answer, but they do need to have a justified answer. Does that make sense? And it's the same. Like when you're, if you're red pilled, you come here, oh, my wife won't fuck me, you type it on the toilet. You know the origin story. It's always about, all right, strong list 5x5, here's your covert contracts, your assertive bill of rights, all this stuff. There's like hundreds of little things you need to know. And then you have a life that just comes up with a series of situations, and you have to plug and play the various tools into where you want to use them in a way that gives you an outcome you want. And at first, you probably don't know the outcome you want. Most guys, when they come here, the first thing they think is, I just want to get laid. And that's all they go with. And then eventually they're like, okay, I'm getting laid, but I'm not happy. And then they figure all this stuff out. But it's just a series of problems and solutions. Like, even with Softbone, when you read it, what's the vibe you want it to get? They call it tone, but I used to do vibe because the Zoomers are here. And I kind of looked through the old 1970s pulp stuff, and like the cover. My example for that is I liked the aesthetic of, you remember like the old 80s sci-fi movies on VHS you'd see, and they always had their certain cover art and their certain designs. And everybody always loved having the cheesy movies like, Beastmaster and Ice Pirates and all that shit. I was like, I like that aesthetic. I wouldn't mind stealing from that. And it's a subtle thing. Like you'll see it referenced in here in the cover, but you don't pick up on it consciously. You just kind of remember this old stuff. And then as it applies to the new stuff, it gives you expectations coming in. I even go so far as like the overlays on the sides here is all like, well, it's supposed to look like a washed out film grain, but it also has kind of the look of like beat up text. Either way. So little things like that. And then choice of the chapter titles. I actually use a font called Swiss 721. And the reason I use that, or was it Universe? I have to go check again. I forgot. Either way, they both serve the same function. They were used for technical manuals, diagrams, architectural drawing, stuff like that. It's a very trade Gothic kind of font. So when you're walking into it, it writes less like some kind of crazy movie. Even though you have that image in your head, it reads more like you're reading a technical manual, like a history book. And so you put those two themes together, and it's, again, you'll never notice it, and you've only ever even thought about it now that I've mentioned it. Most of the stuff happens subconsciously. So you always have to take a leap of faith that the other person has the same cultural knowledge you do to pick up on it. But if not, you kind of develop something new, which is cool too. So you got your gents, and so it's like classic but not classic. You got your chapter headings, which are more like an IKEA manual. Matter of fact, here's how you build it, here's the nuts and bolts, and then you have like your 1980s cover on this one. You put all this stuff together. No, they call them Swiss 721 because there's a whole bunch of different versions of it out. There's like hundreds of different 721 versions of it. And it's all these little things. And I realize for like when I read other books, I can't read books. I'm trying. I really am. I'm trying to find new books. I've actually got a big list right now. I put out a Substack on it. I think I can get there. And I'll probably give some of my thoughts on it, how it reflects on guys who may be into the sphere. Would you like this kind of thing? Would you not like this kind of thing? Is it woke? Did the feminist write it? Or whatever. Right? Swiss Beats. Wasn't he a rapper? Anyways, where's I going with this one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the point is, you're a guy like me. You've had your issues, and you work through your issues, and you had a locker room of dudes to kind of work through the stuff, and now your relationship is great. Maybe you're just like playing the field, and that's going fine, and if it's not going fine, you at least know what to do. Job-wise, I still laugh. One of my favorite important stats that's come out of the Red Pill is watching every guy from the Married Red Pill, once he red pills himself, all of a sudden starts earning more money. I always find that hilarious. And I don't think it's because there's some magic red pill incantation. I think guys just learn to start standing up for themselves and being more assertive, and then taking healthier, calculated risks. And the combination of that is you're either willing to stand up to your boss to get a raise, or you're willing to jump to a new job, even though it's more risky, because the upside is worth it. And then people realize, like a lot of guys realize, in my career, I've been leaving money on the table. I find that stuff hilarious. Because it's like, I used to joke, and I would say, come here for sexual strategy, leave with self-actualization. And it kind of is true. Guys are realizing, oh, dude, that assertive Bill of Rights, the covert contracts. Turns out my boss has some horrible covert contracts, and I just had to enforce some boundaries, and it makes my job so much easier. It's like, that's awesome. Because it wasn't the intention when Archwinger wrote Every Unhappy Wife is a Grape Victim. Or is it Maddie Anon or Dr. Warlock? Anyways, that old classic, the How to Get Laid Like a Warlord, or Whisper with his, you got to stick your head in this bucket right now. These were all kind of designed specifically for the sexual realm. And then to see, oh, well, it turns out women are people. Who'da thunk? And it turns out people are also people. Who'da thunk? And all this stuff that worked with women also works with people. Who'da thunk? I enjoy it. And if there was, like, I would love, and it's never going to happen, or maybe it is and I don't know about it, but I would love for, like, a group of corporate, disillusioned whoever's to be doing kind of like their own business version of this and swapping notes with each other. I think that would be damned awesome. It'd be a real throwback to the Lloyd's Coffee House. I talked about that before. You guys know that one? I think I've mentioned it. The Lloyd's Coffee House, coffee was the commodity. You pay a pence and you get a coffee. And because it was all the same thing, there wasn't separated by class distinctions in Scotland. So the aristocrats, the merchants, the priesthood, and the peasants all were having coffee at the same place. They started talking, sharing notes, swapping business. Bam! Scottish Enlightenment. Who'da thunk? I'm new, so no. It says you're new, but it also says you're number 2. I feel compelled to crush Plan B into orange juice and I'm a chick. Yeah. That one. The Canadian references too with the Tragically Hip. You know what? Tragically Hip is the one band, them and Big Sugar are the two bands I knew growing up. Then I'm like, how in the fuck are these guys not popular in the States? They really should be. They were probably the best Canadian bands out of the 90s. Like, fuck the Bare Naked Ladies. Or I think it was Collective Soul. Anyways, whatever. Yeah, the Tragically Hip. Honestly, if you are ever at a house party in Canada and you start throwing that shit on, anybody over the age of 30 will be like, fucking rights, bud. God, I hate BNL. It's not that I hate them. It's like I know what they're doing, and it's fine. It's just not my choice. The Hip's overrated. I don't know. I don't know if they're overrated, because that's the thing. They never made it big in the States, so it's hard to rate them at all. Big Wreck was not bad, I guess. I don't mind them. They were never my big thing. Big Sugar I liked just because they were like the only band I knew that did old school blues mixed with reggae. Like, it would have been, if that genre had taken off with more bands, they probably would have been seen the same way that you see like ska, that California ska now. Yeah, they are. I actually saw them in concert a couple years ago. Like, they're in their 50s now. It's kind of like watching the Smashing Pumpkins in concert, where like Billy's got a little fucking 50-year-old man gut. He still shreds like shit though. Like, god damn it. So yeah, I missed the Darcy years, but it was neat to see. And then same thing with Big Sure. He came out there with his twin neck fucking Gibson SG. I was like, holy shit. His hairline is all the way back here. His hair is extra long, and he's kind of fat, and he's got that. He looks like somebody's uncle at the party, and then just fucking, bro. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Either I'm too young or too American to know what Ryan is talking about when he brought up the bands. It's a little bit of both. These are kind of like big Canadian bands that never made it to the States. We actually have a whole genre of like the best Canadian bands that never had mainstream success in America. There's the Tragically Hip, Big Sugar, my two favorites, and somebody brought up Big Wreck and the Bare Naked Ladies, but the Bare Naked Ladies did all right because wasn't it Shrek? Shrek gave them a thing. Yeah, but do yourself a favor. Give it a listen to. If you like blues, you like rock, you'll probably like Big Sugar. 1,000 Cigarettes is a nice one. Digging a Hole is kind of the one they were known for. But I don't think, like, any song you look up that's one of their singles, you can't go wrong with. They never had a bad album. Oh, they should have moved and become conservative commentators, yeah. The most awesome music in the world right now is middle-aged, and the middle-aged guys aren't ready for it. Dude, I'm scared to go with you on this journey. I am. Because I remember as a kid in the 90s when you had all those boomers talking about the 60s were the best, man. And I'm like, terrified of being that guy. Some zoomer will walk up like, oh, dude, you don't know how cool it was till Nirvana. I remember hating Nirvana back in the day. When the first Foo Fighter album came out, I was like, this is so much better. And then the second Foo Fighter album came out, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, the Foo Fighter Project was the best of the Foo Fighter albums, and the rest of them is like, I don't know what this is. Yeah. Oh, and to be fair, the reason Canada glazes them so hard is because who else are we going to glaze? We got Rush, and then the Tragically Hip. That's it. When it comes to like Canadian bands we want to glaze, that's your two choices. I guess Celine Dion if you're in Quebec. Like, it's at the point where if George St. Pierre came out with an album, we'd glaze that too because we have to. Because you know what they call a really successful Canadian band? An American band. Oh yeah, Nickelback. I forgot about them. God damn it. The favorite hated band ever. Anyways, we're completely off topic. Completely off topic. I was talking about books. We're talking about sexual strategy. I never liked Nickelback. I don't like them. I don't get it. I don't get why people like them. Like, they do like them. Wait, Journey's not Canadian. Fuck off. Is Journey Canadian? No, Journey's from like Milwaukee or something like that. There's no fucking way. No fucking way. Do you ever hear the albums? And That's What I Call Music, a regular compendium of popular songs. You had NTWACM 20. I've heard of that one. We had, what was it? Much Music would come out with it every year. Big Shiny Tunes. That was the one. Yeah. But I will say, there's certain bands. Okay, I'm ending. We're not talking about music after this. I swear to God. There are certain bands I don't put in my car because as soon as I do, I'll start speeding. There's the Wu-Tang, Daytona 500. I cannot listen to that song in a car because I will get a speeding ticket. There is about half the catalog from Tragically Hip will get me speeding, and Zero by the Smashing Pumpkins. I can't put that on either. At all. Yeah, the first two Big Shiny Tunes. Yeah, we really did. Like, for the American audience here, here's something you need to understand about Canada. We have a giant insecurity about our cultural impact. And it's not that we're not talented or good. It's just that our government really hates successful people. And so we punish them. A lot. And so if you're successful and Canadian, you tend to just move to the States and expatriate because that's the only way you can get successful. But we have this habit of America does something that's cool. And then we do it, but we put a maple leaf on the side of it. And it's always like Timu. So yeah, somebody here was talking about, and now that's music or whatever. That's like some American compendium of like all the coolest rock album stuff of the year. Canada would just have Big Shiny Tunes. It's the same thing. American Idol? Oh, Canadian Idol. Shark Tank? Dragon's Den. You know what I mean? And everything. And it's all just like slap a Canadian sticker on it. Throw a bunch of minorities on there. If it's an international event, hire a native tribe to dance around. Oh my God. All right. Anecdote. Nothing to do with nothing. I think it was like around Christmas. I got invited to one of these fancy end of year high fandangling corporate charity events. I still got connections. Fuck. Yeah, over pour because that's great on fucking camera, you goddamn idiot. All right. One of those high handling ones. It's one of those ones where they do the charity thing and it's like $10,000 to golf with the CEO of Loblaws. And you're like, oh, wow. Of course, people are doing it anyway. But at the beginning of it, and I always know there's always some really gay shit they throw on it, like a land acknowledgement. Just so you know, I want to thank the Majubaway people who we took this from. Thanks, guys. Hopefully we've done good with the building. And you're like, I don't know why, but Canada has to guilt trip ourselves at the beginning of things saying, hey, we stole this land from this tribe. We're not giving it back, but we feel really bad. It's like, fuck. Anyways, so in order to make things square for stealing the land to put a giant hotel on it, they hired this native or indigenous. I got to say indigenous. You can't say native. That's like a slur now. Or First Nations. I don't even know. Anyways, they hired a bunch of them to dance. And I looked, and I was looking at my girl. I'm like, I think these people are scamming the people, the concert. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, first off, they got tassels on like the fucking Ultimate Warrior with like bottle caps and shit. I'm pretty sure they just put this together. And they're not dancing. They're dancing like white dudes at raves, where it's just like you hop up and down and stuff like that. And I'm like, the only way this could be more on the nose of them faking it if they started doing the fucking... like, I don't think they really did this. She's like, yeah, I don't think this is real either. And I found that, and that made the whole event fucking hilarious for me. All these rich assholes talking about their new real estate and their summer cottages, nice cottages. But yeah, and then this guy's just like, I just put on these tassels and dance in a circle. Fuck it. Fuck it. And they're like, oh, it's so brave. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll probably do one next year too. I will say this though. The guys, so now that like I can say I'm an author and I don't talk about the red pill or anything like that, I can actually talk about what I do at these parties. So they're there. It's like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm at blah, 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 here, there, this bank and this thing. And what do you do now? Well, actually, I left all that and I'm an author now. Really? How many books you wrote? Oh, it's like 6 or 7 now. It's like, how's that? And then you always get the thing where the guy's like, man, I would have loved to just walk away from my high stress job to go do my passion. That's wonderful. Like they kind of get that living vicariously through you thing, which is kind of, it's neat, but I know at the same time, even if they wanted to, they never would. Most people like to want things. They don't actually want things. And this is technically, it's not a red pill lesson, but it's a Ryan lesson. Something to keep in the back of your mind is that so many people don't actually want things. They just want to want things. And it blew my mind when I finally figured that out. If you don't know the difference, it's like, oh, I want nothing but 9s and 10s, bro. Yeah, but you don't actually do anything to get you your 9s and 10s. You know, your chicks. I want to get laid every weekend. All right, well, there's these things you got to do to get there. You're like, no, I want to get laid every weekend. All right. And it made me realize it's like the weirdest coping strategy where guys don't want things. They just like wanting things. And it's not a bad thing per se. There's a lot of things that I kind of enjoy that, like Warhammer 40K. I would love to get into Warhammer, but I also know I do not want to get into Warhammer. I don't want to have 10,000 hours of figurine painting parties. I don't want to have a $10,000 army that now takes a quarter of my square footage in my place to store. I don't want to devote, like I'm almost positive that if you were to have a Warhammer tabletop game, it's probably like playing a game of Axis and Allies. Have you ever done that where it's like an hour to set up the board and then you start playing and then a half hour in somebody's bored and then it takes an hour to take things off of the board again. And if you were to play a full game, it's like a 2-day event. And I'm like, I don't want to commit that much. I have too many things in my life. Like if I had nothing and I was unemployed and independently wealthy, fuck yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah, I've heard that not needing something is as good as having it. I can see that, though. I can see that. Yeah, your wallet doesn't want you to get into Warhammer. That's what I keep hearing. And it's not like I have no experience with this shit either. As a kid, like a 13-year-old, I remember getting a job specifically just so I could have good Magic the Gathering decks. Like the Ice Age stuff. I remember all that. And oh, dude. Yeah, no, not going there. I only want fine cheeses, perhaps some prosciutto, and the internet, of course. To be fair, with Bones. Claims to be a woman. I have my doubts. I'm with on the simple pleasures. I've always been about them, and I find and for me though, it's a very cynical way to get there. Maybe this resonates with you, maybe this doesn't. I don't fucking know. But hey, I got 2 hours to fill, and I can't be just shilling my book the entire time. And you really want to hear about covert contracts again? Nah, we've done that already. But like the enshittification of Canada just kind of got to me, and it was like small at first. And so what I would do is, if I would order a restaurant, I'd always order the hamburger. It's not because I like the hamburger. It's just because the hamburger is 9 times out of 10, or fish and chips, the simplest thing on the menu, the hardest thing to screw up. So like if I order it, I always know I will get, unless the place is absolute trash, I'll get a good experience. My girl always has like, well, I don't like tofu, but I like this. And she goes with that shit, and she's always unimpressed and disappointed. Starbucks too. Same drink. I ordered the same drink for 6 years. Never once. You go to your Starbucks card and you look through it and you're like, yeah, never changed. And it's not even like a Frappuccino or something, because that you can screw that up. You know what I got? I would get like an iced coffee, half sweet, sugar-free hazelnut. That was it. Black iced coffee, half sweet, sugar-free hazelnut. Same drink, 6 years. Never changed. I accidentally used my alt. Oh, you poor bastard. Yeah, never changed. Interesting. Of course, everything just started getting worse, but it was just something I've noticed, and this is something too for you guys, when you realize like you being happy ultimately is a choice. It is. And I get what that statement means, because like you've heard Rollo talk about his, was it proximal happiness and ultimate happiness and blah blah blah, and it's like, it sounds like a bunch of commie gobbledygook if you ask me, but then I get it. You can choose to be happy. Dude, I'm over the moon with the book release. I think it's going to be great. I am very happy when I write it. But I'm going to be like very bored and fidgety and want to do a new one soon. So I get it's like temporary, but you just choose it. Yeah, if I'm trying a new restaurant and no one is there during prime time, I walk out. Pre-selected food. Interesting. I wish I could do that. That's the one thing that's pissing me off right now, though, is I can't use like money or people as a metric anymore. Like I'll give you an example. There is a breakfast spot that opened up right across the street from me. It's got like a fancy Italian name. Of course it's run by Indian dudes, but whatever. And I was like, oh, new place, new hipster place. It's packed. So we go in. I'm like, what is this? And it's like, it's millennial, man. It is. It's got like the $20 avocado toast and shit like that. And it's like, oh, all right, whatever, let's do it. And I had expectations. It reminded me of a place in Montreal on Rue Notre Dame, called Le Bureau. If you ever go to Montreal, by the way, if you want to eat there, don't go to St. Catherine's or like the touristy spots. You want to go to Notre Dame. That street is all the best food. Anyways, they would always have like these homemade artisanal breads, like the really, like the hardcore sourdough, you know, the ones where like it's like a workout to chew it and it tastes really good. And they'll have stuff like that. But this guy was just like Wonder Bread on toast, Costco avocados on the toast. It was like just phoned in cheap shit, but it cost a fortune. And it was packed full of millennials. And I was like, what in the hell? I can't go clothes shopping because I'm like, oh, $120 for a shirt. That should be a good price for a shirt. It's the same cheap Temu shit that they built elsewhere. So it's like, yeah, I've really just gone to simplifying my taste, because now if I can't buy expensive stuff and have a feeling that I will enjoy it more, and if I can't buy popular stuff with the expectation that I'll enjoy it more, well, what the fuck is left? Get the simplest thing that's impossible to fuck up. Just not fucking it up makes me happy now. After, Conestoga College got busted for their visa scam, the demographic of the area changed real quick. I'll bet. Yeah, it seems funny the most Italian place here is run by the Balkan or Turkish. Had an $11 avocado shake the other day. Was good. I will admit, that's the one thing I wasn't expecting, It's, if you guys don't know, sometimes you'll see food combinations. You're like, what the fuck is that? If you see a food combination that makes no sense, get it. Because nobody accidentally puts that shit together. So like, yeah, an avocado shake, I guarantee you that tastes delicious. Just because you can't even picture it. They can't even picture it. There's been a few food types that got that. Like for me, when somebody first got me into salting fruit, it's like, what? Yeah, you just get like a mango or a watermelon, and you just sprinkle salt on it, like kosher salt. Like, really? Oh. And then I ate it. I'm like, oh shit, I get it now. It's like, nobody accidentally does this shit. Anyways, so was the avocado shake any good? That's the question. Rue St. Paul. Yeah, St. Paul's pretty dope. I'll give it that. Just stay away from Crescent Street. Don't want to be a fucking tourist. Salt, avocado, and lime. That works too. But I mean, that's technically just guacamole, like deconstructed guacamole. A burger between a cinnamon bun? Oh, dude, you're taking my rule to the extreme. Oh, shit. Null, 10 euro super chat. I have The Dog Walker today on Audible. Listening tomorrow. I am excited. Love your books. Dude, I love your reading. You're going to like it. Like I said, it's... and I'm not an audiobook guy myself. I actually prefer to read as opposed to audio, so I don't know the audiobook experience as well as you guys will, but yeah. Like, what I like the most about that one is it doesn't have spectacle. You know, a lot of guys, when you read books, it's got to have spectacle. It's got to have a giant world. It's got to have this. It's got to have that. This one is a very small, self-contained one. It's just an insecure guy learning to be secure with himself and getting laid without screwing over his life. It's like relatable, well, for the most part. It's ordinary. And so it doesn't have any of those guardrails to keep it interesting. Like, I can't put in, like, no offense, I can't put in orcs burning to the ground in the middle of Dog Walker. If it's interesting, it's got to be interesting because the character's doing things that are interesting. And it's a neat challenge. So, yeah. Audiobooks are a way to kill driving time, which I guess is why. That must be why I don't get into them, because I don't drive anymore. Like, I always joke that our car is a glorified shopping cart. I drive to Costco. That's it. I drive to Costco. I'll drop my girl off at the airport if the train's not running because it's too early or too late. We don't drive anywhere if we don't have to. In fairness, though, Toronto's got the worst traffic in North. I can't believe we have worse traffic than LA and New York. And it's not because we're big deal cities. It's just because our infrastructure was built in the 1700s and any of the new upgraded stuff just was not built up to proper standard expecting growth. And our city is kind of designed as a spoke hub. Like, everything to do is right in the downtown core. And then all the suburbs spoke directly into it. And there's no way to go between the boroughs. So if you want to get anywhere, you have to go downtown and then out again to wherever it is. And it's just fucking annoying. Yeah, The Dog Walker is a book which will make you laugh. I fucking hope so. Like I said, my big joke. No orcs, boo. Cringe ratio unsubbed. Son of a bitch. Yeah, I think it will make you laugh. Because, like, a lot of the stuff that happens in there is just so absurd. And it's not, like, out of left field, non sequitur stuff. It's stuff that, like, the character makes sense. Why is he doing that, right? But it's just such an absurd thing. It kind of reminds me of, and it's not the same kind of humor, but it's the closest I can give you an analogy for. You know when you'd watch, like, the old Arrested Developments, and at the end of the show, the character's doing just some crazy nonsense, but it's like a perfectly calculated set of steps that got them there? It's kind of like that. CHD, $4.99 super chat, 1 cent short of a heartfelt. I appreciate it, sir. This might be the episode. I've got the Dog Walker and delicious tacos coming today. Can we get the Rodney Dangerfield Dog Walker ad again? Oh, of course, sir. Where is it? The crazy thing is I've got like 50 or like 100, a list of 100 now, and I've named them as best I can.
Hi, I'm Kurt Vonnegut. I'm looking for
Ryan Stone.
What's that? Fuck me. Hey, Kurt, you read lips. Fuck you!
There you are, sir. Yeah, dude, honestly, if you got... So I'm assuming you got... And now for some good news. I haven't read Savage Spear of the Unicorn yet. And I haven't read Hot Naked Kittens. But I have read The Pussy. I don't know what it was. I was on vacation in Mexico. My brother took us to... I can't remember what it's some island that's beside Cabo. My brother's into the all-inclusive experience. I would have gone to, like, the middle of nowhere. Like La Paz or Lopez Mateo or something like that. But anyways, took me there. And we were just chilling on the beach. And I was like, oh, dude, there's nothing to do. This is awesome. And I actually read it over, like, 2 days at the beach, which was nice. I just did find it funny that, like, if you read Taco stuff, he's got, like, a grape gang in there and Ellen. And it's a lot of, like, absurd shit. And I'm just sitting here at, like, the nice passive beach. My brother talking about his banking stuff and all that. And just reading about, like, the weirdest incel shit. I don't know. I found it funny. Sounds like Toronto should be turned into Amsterdam, not Houston, as a traffic policy goal. Well, they're trying. There is this constant battle between the suburbs and the city. The city wants to just make everything a bike lane and a train station. You know, the whole conservative hatred for that because, hey, well, that's great if you want to have public transit, and I'll use it, but deal with all the criminals and drug addicts that get on it. And they're like, no. So that's where we're in this stupid thing right now. We don't want to kick the homeless off the trains. We don't want to arrest criminals. And we don't want the cars to smell like curry, but we're afraid to do anything about that because that would mean being mean. So we're at this place now. Oh, shit. Johnny Trejo, too. Look at this. $4.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. Listening to The Dog Walker on Audible. You're at the Charlie section. Read the book and will receive Jake Long and Softbone tomorrow. Dude. You're going to binge. This is awesome. Okay, the Charlie section. I've had, again, another one of the DMs where somebody's like, dude, this one gave me like an anxiety attack. I'm like, what? And it turns out he had like one of those stories in his own life too. But yeah, it's, so that's, Charlie is the lowest point thing. It's where the character both thinks he has it all figured out. Like to him, that's his climax, but it's actually his lowest point. And that's when the idea of what he thinks he should be doing and what he actually should be doing hit ahead. Tons of symbology in there. Tons of subtle nods to this, that, and the other thing. And it's funny because I don't know what kind of reader you are. Maybe you're a surface level reader. You just like seeing things happen and that's fine. You don't want to think about it too much. It's fine. No problems with that. Some people just like that. And then some people are like, oh, I like seeing the themes. I like seeing things where they're done cleverly. I like seeing where, oh, so he's just like he's eating an apple, but the apple symbolizes this. But it actually does, not just, saying it symbolizes it, but you have to figure that out yourself. Some people like the little mystery and the clues and things. There's stuff like that in there as well. There was one thing when Nick and I were doing strategy sessions, I was like, one thing I was not expecting you to do was to have like layered enjoyment like this, where you can enjoy it on that surface level and also the under level if you want to. So I hope it comes through on the audio version. Like I've listened to it, but it's like different when it's read to you. But yeah, you'll love it. Oh shit. Yeah, the Charlie section. It's good. It's like I don't know if I say this. I see the super chat from Arrow. I'll get to that in just a sec. So for a lot of the stories in there, and obviously you recognize some of them from Fuck Files. So it's not a memoir. It's not. But a lot of the stories and the scenes that were in there were inspired from real life events from either me or the people I know. The Charlie one, here's a fun fact. I actually had a Charlie in my life, and that actually did happen. Well, not like that. I would say maybe half. So it's kind of interesting. Having said that, though, to describe it as it happened would have been much more boring. So in order for everything to work together, like I never got any bed sheets for my birthday, that much I know. But I also, like, the main character's story in this whole thing is about how he has to get a new duvet cover because his sheets are all ruined. Technically, in my life, my sheets were old, like, Costco sheets or whatever. Those were ruined. And so then I had the custom sheets made for me. And I had those until I upgraded from a double to a queen bed and my girl moved in. So it has nothing to do with the story. But I just liked the idea. Yeah. So Arrow, no comments, but a $5 super chat. That's fucking well done, sir, you son of a bitch.
So the meme, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha.
Named Ryan Stone.
It says, ask Murphy about the article he wrote, cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline.
I am now concerned for my career.
And I still recommend clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just...
That's great. That's you should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
Interesting. I looked it up. Alpha AK's talking about I'd rather have Toronto traffic than Atlanta traffic. I actually looked that up. Which one's worse? They say Atlanta traffic is worse, but not because the traffic is better, but because Toronto at least has public options. Which I'm like, that's such a cop-out, because that's not Exalt. It's like a fake. Here's the thing. Toronto traffic, we have had about a dozen stories out of the last year of people coming here. Like we had a junior hockey world championship or like NHL games, stuff like that. Anyways, the artist or the team or the band will come here. They'll land at the airport and they'll drive to the stadium to go to the game. And the traffic gets so bad that they're caught in like 2 hours for like a 12-minute drive. It's like a 2-hour commute that they just get out of their cars and walk to the venues. It's just been fucking funny. The only exception I can think of for bands is when Taylor Swift came here and they gave her a motorcade. Dude, she had... The prime minister didn't have this much security and shit around him. It was just insane. But yeah, everybody who comes here for like a concert or something, they end up just walking to their own venue because they're like, dude, this traffic is ridiculous. And this is people from LA. So like I said, I will give Atlanta a run for its money. And remember, Atlanta's probably got more people, but it's also got bigger, like more lanes and stuff. Toronto was built for carriages and wagons. And they're trying to make this a grade A city without upgrading that stuff because of heritage purposes. Nah, man. Yeah, electric scooters and mopeds. Well, they already do that here. They have those stupid e-bikes that are just essentially scooters. And the pedals aren't even... There's not even a chain on their pedal. But they're like, as long as you can pedal it yourself, it counts as a bike. And so they're basically riding scooters on the sidewalk. It's fucking annoying. LA traffic is worse. Too many rubbernecking on what's going on the other side of the freeway. We got that too, man. 90% of the traffic is because some Indian dude killed a family of 4 in his truck, and then everybody's watching on the other side of the road. Actually, here's what you do. If you don't believe me, talk with Red Hawk. You guys go to Red Hawk streams, I hope. Or you read a Substack. Ask him, because he came down to visit me last year, and he's been everywhere. He's been to LA, as far as I know. He's been to New York. He's been there, and he's been here. You ask him which traffic is worse, because he drove in Toronto traffic, and I've never seen a man so angry in my life. Oh, he was pissed. He hated it. It's a good thing he likes me, man. What are we gonna do? See, if you had to see musicians posting, then walk into the venue on TikTok in Atlanta. Exactly. Yeah, here we have electric scooters for public use around here. It's college town. It's a nightmare. Oh, yeah, the West Coast. To be fair, though, from what I remember, I haven't been around Vancouver in like a year and a bit, but I do. I never really drove. I've always been there from flights or sales, so it's a lot of walking. But I kind of remember it's like getting around in San Francisco is the way I think of Vancouver, if I'm correct. It's been too long. Like I said, it's go to, was it Robson and Richards, and that's it. Anyways, back to the red pill stuff. We've been ranting about just random things because there was one thing I wanted to get a little bit of red meat, just a little bit. I am still amazed, as much as they say red pill has gone mainstream and people have understood everything and the job is over, how much of it people are still fucking clueless about. So Joey Swoles, I think is his name. You guys heard of this guy? He's like a posit. He's like the Gary V of the gym. He will see chicks putting dudes on blast for ogling them, doing their ass burning splits at the gym or whatever. And he's like, guys, you got to be good heckin' people. Don't fat shame people at the gym when they're there to work out. Don't throw your tits out on stage for everybody when they're just trying to get a workout in and then put them on blast. Like all that stuff. So he's generally that. Anyway, and I'm probably going to get a few details wrong, so you guys in the chat are going to have to correct me. But I guess he had some choice words to say about Hulk Hogan. I don't even think he hated. I think he liked Hulk Hogan. You know the whole thing? Everybody's like, oh, Hulkamania rules. And then somebody caught him saying an N-bomb once. And then all the progressive people are like, man, fuck Hulk Hogan. And he got all this negative press for a long time. And then his sex tape stuff. And then the Gawker thing. I don't know, man. And it was just funny because now, like, he's died. Book's release date was on Hulk Hogan Day. Thank you, DeSantis. Anyway, so a bunch of the stuff came out that he had said things about Hogan. And so he decided to apologize to the woke mob, and they didn't care. They just fucking went after him. And I'm going, what happened to the red pill went mainstream? We've got this shit sorted out. This has been a known thing for a decade. Don't ever apologize to the mob. They don't care. They will take your apology and weaponize it and use it as ammunition and proof that you need to be destroyed, whatever the fuck that means. Even have a book on it. If you guys haven't read it, Vox a Day, Social Justice Warriors Always Lie. It is a great book. I put it on par with the So You've Been Tarred and Feathered book that came out in like the 1930s or whatever. It's funny how most of like the transcendental stuff comes out in the 1930s. Just saying. Yeah. And it's been a while. I'd have to get back into it. But I remember he has like... It's almost like a list of 6 things to do when you have the public outrage mob. And at the time, they were called Social Justice Warriors, or you call it the woke mob now. But it's the same thing. It's a bunch of authoritarian school marms that want to like publicly shame you. Don't ever apologize. The one thing he had on there was like about kicking up the rubble. It's the idea that like some people are going to be on your side and some people are going to be attacking you and some people are just going to fence sit. He goes, the one group that'll actually do the most harm to you are the fence sitters. The ones who won't vouch for you, they won't defend you publicly, but they won't attack you either. And he goes, because the reason why is every time they come up, if somebody's attacking you, they will not defend, but excuse the attacks. Well, maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't be this. Yeah. And for the people that defending you, they'll be the first ones to like temper that. Like, well, maybe you shouldn't be like, this isn't the greatest. And so they end up being more harm than good. It really is like that biblical thing of like with Jesus, if you're lukewarm, I'm spitting your ass out. I think he even uses the line in there, but yeah. So there was that. There's the never apologize. There's like 4 or 5 more ideas, and then he kind of articulates it. It's actually pretty good because he uses examples of the time of these things happening and the people that handle it well and the people that handle it poorly, which, and these going to be some old references. There was, the big one he uses is Tim Cook or something. Not the Apple guy, but he was some intellectual who was teaching at Harvard or somewhere. And he was talking about female scientists, how, oh, they fall in love and blah, blah, blah. And he was just kind of joking around with the chicks at the work. They just fall in love and they cry too much and the science gets done, but whatever. And then they went after him and he did his like woke thing. He apologized. He cried. They still fired him. They lost his tenure. And he goes, you notice the one thing they do too is they don't actually ever fire you. Nobody ever gets you fired. They shame you, and then they tell you, you know what, just do the honorable thing and quit. And they can't even have the balls to kick you out. They fire you. They make you quit. They make you cancel yourself. And that's the pernicious part of it. Is they demoralize you and then they make you suicide. Like, here, man. It's like that thing when they catch the spy and then he hands him a pistol. He's like, do the right thing, and they just leave the room. And he's just, well, I guess I'm supposed to shoot myself then. It's like that. It's such a chick shit. So anyway, some of the nomenclature is a little old. Like nobody says SJW anymore, and we don't think of that. And the woke mob thing, that's kind of come and gone too. But there's still another group. There's always some group of it. If there was a timeless version of what to call it, I could see just rewriting it and changing the name from SJW to School Marm or whatever the hell. That would work great. But it's great. And it's like, yeah, Joey didn't do any of that. Oh, he fucking apologized. He's on there. He probably cried. I didn't even listen. I was like, bro, I thought this red pill thing was supposed to have gone mainstream. How do people not know this? And this is the most basic bitch of red pill stuff. I think it was like 2015, 2016. It's like, it's not obscure. And even if you didn't watch that, Roosh used to do this all the time. He would get some mainstream rag to shit on him. The whole reason it's called the manosphere is because of Roosh, by the way, in case you didn't know. Manosphere is not actually a word. Yeah, some people used it, but what happened is feminists were using it first. They liked because at the time it was called the blogosphere. Everybody was blogging, so they called it a sphere of blogs, blogosphere. Because, you know, Irish. And Mother Jones, back in, I want to say 2012, took that and they kind of mainstreamed the concept of the manosphere. The only reason they called it the manosphere is because they wanted to lump men's rights advocates like Paul Elam, which is a whiny bitch, but whatever, and Karen Strawn and Terrence Popp in with Mike Cernovich and Roosh V, the pickup artist guys. And they wanted to lump all these guys together into one thing, make them an identity group. Because then you can, because if you have an identity group, you can attack it by its worst member. Ah, dude. How many examples do you need of that? Who are the big identity groups now? Women. They are. Who do you get to judge them on? Bonnie Blue. She's a woman. See what women do? 1,000 dicks. The other girl's like, I don't do 1,000 dicks. What the hell? I do like maybe 3. Like, whatever, bitch. African Americans. Probably the most controversial example. Dude, World Star Hip Hop. If you, obviously, every African American I know, upstanding, tax-paying, productive, normal person. You gotta think though, like if they make like African American a category and then show some World Star Hip Hop videos, you're like, Jesus Christ, man, work with me here. Military, same thing. One of my students actually ended up getting blackout drunk. And he says he was roofied as well. I don't know. That all I know is that he took a box cutter to a cabbie. I don't know why. I didn't really care. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Oh, but it wasn't he took it. It was the military has these evil psychopaths. Like, oh, fuck it. They're calling us baby killers again. But you see what I mean? Once you make something into an identity group, you can judge it by its worst actors. And because guys generally aren't identity groups, we're just guys. Roosh didn't give a shit about Paul Elam. Paul Elam didn't give a fuck about Cernovich, who didn't care about Tucker Max. Everybody was just doing their own thing. Guys are very individualistic that way. But you can't shit on us that way. So you have to turn us into an identity group. And they kept using the term. And it's one of those... And I hate the term. Sometimes I just use it for brevity's sake, which I shouldn't. But hey, you know, it's that fight's been lost. And so what a lot of guys do is because they have no frame, they latch onto it and they make it our word. This is our word. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, our word? Shut up. And so they're like, yeah, the manosphere is great. They're going to call us Nazis. I'll show you. I'm going to go jackboot. And like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? You see guys who are just like so easily to manipulate. As soon as dad tells you don't do that, well, I'm doing it now. Well, that's great. So you just let everybody know. All I have to do is tell you real men don't do X and you're going to go out there and do it. Do you ever wonder why women are saying real men don't do the stupidest shit? Because they're like, yeah, watch this. I'm going to get this guy to... And they do. There's always one fucking idiot who's like, oh, really? Well, can't tell me what to do. I'm going to run into traffic. You're like... Just because it's negative connotations doesn't mean they're still not defining you. I don't know why you have to let it happen that way, but whatever. Gay pirate ship, retarded playground. Oh, it gets started. As Razorfist has said, cancel culture is a participation sport. You're only canceled if you allow yourself to be. Yeah. Granted, it never used to be. When it first happened, there are actually but it was only ever in very specific spheres. It was only ever in academia and like the power stuff. Academia, politics, and high up corporate. And Hollywood. Because ultimately there's something that people can do about that. For CEOs, if you're like, case in point, that dude who just got caught cheating on his wife with the HR lady at the Coldplay concert, the board kicked him out. Absolutely got canceled. Is it justified? I don't fucking care. It's not my battle. If I was gonna cheat on my wife, I sure as fuck wouldn't be doing it at a Coldplay concert in front of the kiss cam. Secondly, if I got caught on a kiss cam, don't act fucking weird and everybody will forget about it. That's all you gotta do. Anyway. Yeah, and then academia, because they could pull the dean can pull your tenure, but outside of those, like, and I guess Weinstein, but everybody there is like a big circle jerk anyway. But outside of those very specific areas, yeah, cancel culture is a participation sport. It's technically a grift right now. Like, what's that line? I can never remember the guy's name who did it. I know the quote though, where every cause starts, or every big thing starts as a cause, turns into a grift, and eventually becomes a business. Cancel culture now is like a business. It is. And that's why people are shitting on it. It's like, oh, you got canceled, huh? Guess you got a new book coming out. Fuck, I should have almost taken the piss with it and made some big hullabaloo about getting canceled. And then, oh, by the way, the woke feminists don't want you to read Softbone. They don't know the secrets inside of here. It's like, I'll try and play like a Stanley Kubrick angle where he was doing the eyes wide shut. Like, this is my feminist eyes wide shut and they're coming after me. You gotta get it before the Illuminati chicks fucking murder me. No, it wasn't a Rollo quote. It's, fuck, you're gonna make me look it up now, aren't you? God damn it. All right. Eric Hoffer. Every great cause begins as a movement, becomes a business, and it eventually degenerates into a racket. That's the one. And it is everyone. Woke used to be that. Woke was literally like, oh, you're waking up to the way things are. Oh, the Building 7. Like, that was woke. And then woke turned into like, you know what woke means? I need this theater kid, lesbian, transgender to bake a cake in front of the prime minister. You're like, what the fuck happened here? How did we get from here to there? Everything. Red pill, same thing. Watching Myron. Oh. I was going to use like a... Let's talk about what Myron was doing. I was going to use a primate reference, but I'm like, no, that comes across as very racist, so I'm not gonna. But you know what I mean? Dancing something. Soft shoe for whatever. I'm like, oh, you can't mention any of that stuff because that is all hitting the wrong triggers. Like, I'm trying to articulate a point, but it'll get lost in the jargon. So I'm like, yeah, all right, no. But you know what I'm saying? It's like that Simpsons thing. Oh, it's Dancing Pete. He dances for quarters. Oh, 50 cents. He'll be at it for hours. Oh, so I saw First Steps at the theater last night. It was really sleek, 70s sci-fi aesthetic. I think Ryan would like it. First Steps, huh? Let's see what we're talking about here. Fantastic Four? Oh, shut up. Dude, why would you watch? I'm not... Oh, I see. Yeah, they're... Well, it's not a 70s aesthetic. I see what they're technically trying to do is the 60s aesthetic. That, like, French coffeehouse mod stuff, that's 1960s. Like Fran Drescher's The Nanny, if that makes sense. I'm not going to watch it in the theaters. I'm going to wait. If you've engaged in anything that's new and you haven't waited 6 months, then it's fucking on you, man. Yeah, I guess retrofuturism is a good way of describing it. It's got that in there too. But yeah, it's kind of got like a mishmash of the 60s stuff. It looks like somebody just went to the 1960s and said, I'll take all of this. One of everything. I've got my popcorn ready for the first pissed off feminist shitting on the Softbone ad. The problem is they're so insular now. Like, they just don't want to deal with it. It was kind of better when they were perfectly willing to get out there and be crazy, but I think a lot of them are kind of burning out, so they just want to go back to their little feminist enclaves. Like, Anita Sarkeesian hasn't done shit in years. I'm so annoyed. Dude, your whole thing was to be like female Roosh for video games, and now you're like, I'm marrying myself and I'm going to hide in the woods. It's like, fuck it, woman. We want some blood sport. Get in here. And what do we got now? We got that, who's that chick that's always fucking angry at Nuclear Juadio? Is she still around? The Asian one that had like a criminal record, which, by the way, funniest this you I've ever seen. King or something, like Alex King, or I don't know what her name was. Anyways, Nuke was doing Nuke's thing, you know, saying stuff that gets girls angry, but it's not wrong. And then she was like, you're not a real man, blah, 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 this, and real men need to be nice and blah, blah, blah. She went and did like the little podcast circuit, talked to Rolo, talked to him. And I was like, I'm out. I don't want any of this shit. And then sure enough, like 2 weeks later, like, hey, I found your fucking mugshot bay. And then somebody called her fat because she was like 20 pounds overweight. Oh, dude, it just was like fucking ridiculous. The whole thing. Yeah, well, when she got outed for not ever playing games, it killed any credibility. Did it, though? Here's the thing. It didn't kill her credibility. If we're talking about Anita Sarkeesian. She never played any games. And you know what happened? She ended up working as an NGO, getting hired as a consultant for, like, major studios to basically slopify studios. So she had no attack on her credibility. She had a good shakedown. Hey, it's a nice video game studio you have there. It'd be a shame if somebody, you know, talks shit about it on fucking Tumblr. All right, sorry, here's some money. Tell us how we can wokeify our movie or game. And you're like, yeah, well, this chick's too hot. You need to make her look like a transgender. And they're like, all right, ma'am, sorry. Yeah, Hollywood's just trying to get back the people they lost with all the woke stuff by doing stuff that appeals to the people they lost, which is fine. I wouldn't mind that. But they're going to fuck that up too. Because I don't think the issue is woke. I really don't. Everybody likes to complain about that stuff. I'm like, you know why I don't think it's the issue? Because they used to have woke stuff in the 90s. And we loved it. Deep Space Nine? Oh, dude. Most people who are honest with you will say that their favorite Star Trek series is Deep Space Nine. Because the stories were just better. But if you go back and look at it now, it's the wokest shit ever. Dax. What is Dax if not a troon? Hey, old man. Ah, it's actually a woman, but it's an old man. Who knows? We don't care. We're progressive. Space Nazis are the biggest villains in the universe. Hell, even Gul Dukat, he got so sympathetic for a while there. Like, dude, we need to make him insane because people are starting to relate to him and see him as like a tragic hero. Yeah, that was like the first example they did. Like, we gotta ruin this guy because people are starting to like him. Terminator 2, another great example. Single mom is on a quest to find the perfect stepdad for her son, and is a robot. Doesn't try to sleep with her, sacrifices his life for the kid, asks nothing in return. It is feminist hogwash. Yeah, talent, exactly. So we don't give two shits. If you watch some of the episodes too, it's like, do yourself a favor. If you are a Deep Space Nine fan, go back and watch Deep Space Nine with modern eyes. And just think, hey, you remember this episode? There was one where they go to do a casino heist. And Cisco doesn't want to do it. And they're like, why don't you come? It's fun. He goes, because, dude, it was like the 1960s in Vegas. Black people, or in the 40s in Vegas. Black people weren't even allowed in there. And then the wife's like, yeah, that's great. And he's like, I don't like the idea of ignoring this like terrible point in our history. And the chick's like, oh, whatever. It's just fun. Just have fun with it. And then so they go in there and they do the heist. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden blacks and whites are getting along in the 1940s. How many movies have you seen right now, which is that? Where they just race swap shit and pretend like nothing happened and everybody's cool with it. It's just gay and lame. Cisco was right, man, in that one. He was totally right. Yeah, well, the first Terminator is a better movie, ultimately. The second Terminator was just a bigger budgeted one. But if you watch it, the first Terminator, the Aliens and Terminator are the same movie. They're a science fiction horror. The only difference is in one it's a machine and in the other one it's an alien. But it's the same horror film. It's no different than Halloween, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees. You know what I mean? DS9 headed to the Dominion arc because Babylon 5 was eating it alive. Yeah, you've mentioned that before, which is true. And that's probably my favorite part of it. All the woke stuff, it's like I didn't mind it, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. But the Dominion War, I love that because then shit got like really good. I would argue the only series that got even close to capturing the Dominion War as far as good storytelling, especially wartime storytelling, would have been the Battlestar Galactica stuff. And even then, Battlestar Galactica, was it season 3, the one where they had the occupation, which just so happened to happen during the war in Iraq, where they're like, we're going to make the Cylons like the Americans in the Iraq War. And even then, they kind of pulled it off pretty good. Like when Ty had to kill his wife because she was a collaborator. I was like, holy shit. That's some hardcore shit, man. Love that. I'm listening to be late at work. I didn't have Ryan being a font nerd on my bingo card. Typeface nerd, idiot. A font is a specific typeface. Typeface is the family, or type family. Helvetica is a typeface. Helvetica Italic is a font. Yeah, I was too dumb to get the nuances of Terminator till later, much later. Oh, we all were. Same thing. It's like RoboCop. Used to love RoboCop as a kid. But I did not look at it like a sci-fi western until I was older. I didn't notice any of the satire until I was older. And now I watch it, I'm like, oh, dude, this is fucking awesome. This is so much smarter than it has any right being. Now let's kill that fucking board member with the Ed 209. Yeah. And James Cameron always ripped off other works for his movies, which, dude, I'm fine with that. But you notice the thing about Cameron, you kind of notice after a while, is that he's definitely a mama's boy. Everything he writes is about how women are great, men are stupid and evil and wrong. It just so happens that he's really good at it. And we didn't care. Terminator 2, a lot of guys still love Terminator 2, even though it's like ridiculous for that stuff. Deep Space Nine, ridiculous, still love that stuff. One of my favorite Christmas movies is The Long Kiss Goodnight, a neo-noir film about a female assassin turned soccer mom turned assassin, with Samuel L. Jackson as her goofy sidekick, murdering the American military and the CIA and all kinds of shit. And it's fucking awesome. At one point, she puts on figure skates and is skating on the lake while she kills fucking 5 terrorists in a car. It's like, what the fuck? Gina Davis. It is an awesome movie. It really is an awesome movie. But again, you want to, like, oh, I don't like my strong female Mary Sue's. This chick was a Mary Sue, man. Total Mary Sue, but they just wrote it well. She could kill anything, couldn't be stopped. But that wasn't her character arc anyway. Her character arc was learning to be like a good mom. Learn to stop hating being a mom and try to save her kid. And it's like to learn that maybe her family isn't the worst thing ever and to be happy about it, and that maybe she doesn't need to. It was technically a story about a chick who hit a middle-age crisis, wanted to go whore it up like she was 20 again, and learned that maybe I should just age gracefully and enjoy some time with my family. It's a fucking wonderful film. Woke as shit. So we don't give a shit about woke. We give a shit about incompetent woke. But it could be incompetent anything. And that's why the Fantastic Four is not going to do any good. Because it's going to be, oh, it's like Mod Squad 1960s retrofuturism. Yeah, they're going to fuck that up too. When you're saying put these books on... Oh, when are you going to put these books on Audible? I sent you a super chat earlier. Congrats. So, Dev, I mentioned it earlier. My bad. I keep forgetting you guys come in and out at different times. Dogwalker just got out on Audible today, or yesterday. Just came out. Same time as Softbone. I was like, fuck, that couldn't have been worse timing. I thought I staggered it better, but whatever. So Dogwalker's already out. Softbone, the recordings are done. The mastering is done. I just have the QA process to finish, and then I can upload that one as well. I'm going to wait probably 2 months, maybe 3 months. So what month is it? It came out August. I'll probably have it out October. I like the idea of spacing it out a little bit. Give everybody a chance to read it who wants to read it, and then, you know, let the hype percolate, and then the audiobook guys can go afterwards, because I find just taking everything and lumping it in and releasing it same day, it's not good. It just bewilders people. It gives them too much choice. You kind of want to stagger it. So yeah. So Dogwalkers now, all the books are out except for Softbone. Softbone just came out, and in October it'll have that. And probably a month after that, I'll have a Praxeology 4. So like Praxeology 3 is obviously like a reader's digest of field reports and case studies. I'm just going to continue on with the trend, because like I've been going through, if you guys are on Substack, I'm always doing more case studies and more research, and I'm surprised how much more value there is to mine out of this space. Like every week I still find something. Even last week's one. Dude, one of my favorites is last week's, and apparently it's one of your guys' favorites too. This one was popular as shit, and I didn't even think that was going to be the case. Where is it? Man wasted 5 years. Yeah, you guys love this fucking one. So this one is a guy, technically, he's still active on the Mary Red Pill now. Why More Please kind of got me on to be like, dude, have you seen this guy? And I looked at it. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what kind of guy it was. It's the guy who doesn't do shit. Anyway, it's a very standard field report. Here's my stats. I have a wife that's this age, this thing. Here's what I've read. And then he kept adding this book, As the Man Thinketh. I was like, what the fuck is this book? And he's like, oh, you guys got to read this. It's the greatest thing ever. So I look it up. It came out in the 1920s. So I'm like, okay, it's Gutenberg it. Oh my fucking God. Like, you guys know how I am not a fan of, what's his name? David Rose's, it's the Sidebar book. Why can I not remember the name of it right now? Hold on a second here. What do they call it? The Way of the Superior Man. That one. You know I hate that one, right? Because it's all like, hey, you're man, you're noble, you're great, it's like the testicular cancer thing, guys without balls. Like, you're men, we're real men. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, I read this. It's the same thing, but it's like the language makes it completely incomprehensible. It's worse than The Secret. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I bet you anything, this guy is going to have a long, torrid history of doing fucking nothing and then justifying it in his head. And sure enough, 5 years. He's been at the red pill for 5 years. And he was pretty meticulous about his things. It was like a very easy one to do research for. He actually listed all of his own stuff in order. And so I check his first one. And sure enough, it's, same thing. Why is my wife acting so shitty? We don't have sex. And I kind of have a malaise. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And he's like 40, 2 kids, 2 years old. Very stock standard how he found his way here. And then he just keeps going on about how great this book makes him feel. And then how he needs to do this, needs to do this. Like, the New Year's resolution shit. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. And everything had an excuse. Well, I was going to do strong list 5x5. And I did it for 2 weeks, but then I stopped doing it. And then I feel really bad about myself for not doing it. Now I'm kind of an asshole, and you guys need to call me a fag. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Catholic confession stuff. Sure enough. And he goes, yeah, and then my wife this and my wife that. You can tell he's like trying to put her together like a Swiss watch. What individual manipulations can I do to change my mindset in order to her? And I'm like, oh, okay, there's Swiss watch stuff too. And I'm like, yeah, this first part is just lazy. He's doing everything that doesn't require any type of work. And anytime he's not doing things he knows he should be doing, he's got a very elaborate set of excuses as to why he can't do it. And if he doesn't have them, he just calls himself a piece of shit as if that absolves him of it. It's like, hey, I admitted my faults. What have you done? Well, I fucking did what I had to do. You must be the other guy. So I'm like, Jesus. And so I kind of write it. And the one thing I liked about this is, like, as I'm getting better as a storyteller, I kind of, instead of making these very clinical, I kind of shift them more to like a narrative. So I pause it to you guys. What does 6 months of this look like? And then sure enough, the next report. And the thing I loved about it is, like, when he had his stats, I'm like, oh, it's perfect. I got a reason for the stats. You look at the stats. Same stats. His lifts have not changed. He gained 4 pounds. And then you read the books, like all the books he's read. The one he didn't read, the one that was probably most useful to him was Married Man's Sex Life Primer. He's like, yeah, I still haven't gotten to that one. But I finished this other book that's great, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, oh my God, 6 months. Not a thing has changed. Instead of As the Man Cometh, it's now, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Speaking of fucking retarded books, same thing. And the way he wrote, too, was just so, it's always like, hey guys, it's me again. You may not remember me from, like, talking like Troy McClure. You may remember me from such bullshit field reports as, I need to get this done someday, and how can she slap? And you read it, and he's talking about strong list 5x5, but his lifts are all over the place. Like bicep curls, chin-ups, lateral raises, leg extensions. Like, what the fuck part of the 5x5 is this? And I'm not saying you have to do the program, but if you're going to sit here talking about, I don't know the basics, and then you just make up some random shit, that kind of shows. And the lifts all suck. Which, I don't care if they suck, but they haven't improved in 6 months. They haven't changed in 6 months. So he's just fucking around. He might even be making them up. I don't know. And then sure enough, same thing. Wife's still shitty. We still don't have sex, and I still feel shitty about myself. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Wonder what 6 months of this looks like. Sure enough, he skipped to 6 months later. He lost the 4 pounds. And the lifts, he didn't even, he's like, I don't know yet. I haven't checked. It's like, fuck off. Everybody knows their lifts. Even if they're like, I don't know. Like, you haven't done a 1 rep max or whatever. You kind of in your head know. Anyway, so now he added never split the difference. And he still hasn't gotten through Married Man Sex Life Primer. It's been a year. And he couldn't even finish this. And it's not like these are like hard, academic, dense reads. He's not reading the fucking Iliad in the original Greek. It's Married Man Sex Life Primer. It's an extended length blog post. Like, if you can read, you can get through it. There's no way you can't. 5 excuses, 5 rationalizations. And then sure enough, he's fucking around with this. He fucks around with this. And he just tells you how much. He's like, I've been fucking around with everything. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why is he even here? And I looked. It was funny because his first post, nobody's first field report ever gets any comments on it. Because nobody knows if you're worth investing in, right? People usually like to see a guy who's done a few of them first. Till they're like, all right, let's swap some notes. And then sure enough, 6 months in, you see there's a bunch of people swapping notes with him. And anytime somebody had anything critical or productive, or maybe they were just sharing their notes on, I was in your position, this is what I did, whatever. Hey, thanks for this. You talk like a chat GPT response that's fluffing the guy. Hey man, thanks for giving me attention. I appreciate that. And you're not wrong, but, and then you have an excuse for it. And then sure enough, you check like the year mark, the year and a half mark. Nobody ever comments on these again. Like you can just tell the entire place gave up on him. Which is crazy because some people just love to run their mouth when they see a guy who's doing worse than them. It's like, dude, I could help the next generation of men. It makes me feel great. When these guys give up on you, that's saying something. Anyways, so he took a 4-year break. This was like 5 years ago. Left. Came back, was it like 6 months? Yeah, came back 6 months ago. And I'm like, I wonder what the fuck. So this is like my little attempt to be like clever story-wise, where I'm like, I wonder what 4 years of this looks like. And then sure enough, everything is the same. He lost 20 pounds though, from wind sprints and running. So 5 years of red pill, all the mental models, all the books, all the things you could work on. The only appreciable change he did was he lost 20 pounds in 5 years, which is not nothing, but it's very slow. Some guys have lost 20 pounds in 3 months. Could condense the whole thing. Anyways, he's also 141 pounds. So at that point, 141 pounds, losing 20, 30 pounds, I'm like, that's not good, man. Like, I know a lot of guys, like, I feel healthy at 150. Like, no, you don't. You'll feel healthy at 180. Try it. If you're under, and that's the one thing I hold is like my rule. I have no exceptions to it. Unless you need it for some kind of like specific sport, like you're a jockey at the Kentucky Derby, you should not use the word cut in your lexicon until you're at least 180 pounds. I don't care how tall you are. Just the case. Anyways. So something happened that brought him back. He doesn't mention it, but like nobody comes back out of nowhere. Something caused an acute pain and brought him back. And then all of a sudden you see like, okay, I'm starting now. He's like angry. He says he's angry. I'm pissed off, blah, blah, blah. I'm on 5x5. He actually does some 5x5. Squat, bench, overhead press, deadlift, and he added curls to it, but whatever. And the lifts aren't great. Like a squat's 160, which is, a plate and a half, which is not good, but it's not nothing. And it's more than he's done in the last 5 years, especially at 140 pounds. Benching 120. It's like, these are not strong lifts, but whatever. You start somewhere. And then he acknowledges, like, dude, I realize my problem is just my ego. I don't want to admit that I'm a fuck up. I don't want to admit that I don't want to do anything. And so I do all this stuff, and I'm just here for validation. I saw a psychiatrist and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, interesting. So, like, 4 years, and he made it to the anger phase. It's a very slow process. If you guys are ever, like, some guys are always, oh, I'm worried. I kind of didn't do it as fast as I should, and I'm just fucking around. It's like, relax, man. The bar is low. It's been 5 years. Have you started strong lifts yet? He's like, yeah, all right. Well, you're ahead of the curve. And again, I'm not shitting on this guy. I think I should be. But the problem is I'd have to invest more to shit on him. He's more of a cautionary tale. So yeah, that's what 4 years of red pill looks like. I started strong lifts. Jesus. And I'm like, all right, so now he's angry, starting again. Again, a lot of guys do that. I remember over the years, even myself, a lot of guys, they kind of found the space and they kind of dip their toe in and they chill out a bit and they read some stuff and then they kind of go away, do their own thing. And then something happens in life and it brings them back. A lot of guys have that. Usually it's like, a couple months, but whatever. I'm like, okay, so now he's angry. He's made some gains. He's taking it seriously. I wonder what 6 months of this looks like. Oh my God. And this is where I was like, I just was like, oh my God. And I think this one came out like 2 days before. And you read through it, and it's just same thing. 5 years, not a single change. The only thing that has changed now is the kids are older. And this is the part that gets me, and I don't know if I articulated it well enough. I kind of want to make it my own thing on it, but so he's afraid of his wife. He walks on eggshells. Every time she gets mad or angry and stuff, he apologizes, he coddles her, blah, blah, blah. He's afraid of pissing her off. He just needs her validation. And he's afraid to make big changes in his life because whatever reason. Is it laziness? Is it fear of change? Is it identity? Who cares? Just know it's there. And it didn't really matter then. When he had some 2-year-olds and his wife's fucking losing her shit and whatever, he's just like, I could slough it off, whatever. Let's make dinner. Now the kids are like 7. And mom's freaking out the fucking kids. She's yelling at the kids. She's screaming at the kids. She's acting like an abusive mom. And this is the one thing I wish guys would understand. Like, yeah, your ability to hold boundaries and stand up to your wife and all the stuff that makes you attractive and sexy, you know, increases your love life. This stuff will matter. Because this is not the first example I've seen of where a mom is basically terrorizing the guy's children. And most of these guys have nothing going on in their life. So, like, I love my kids becomes their whole identity. I love my kids. I would protect them. If anybody tried to touch them, blah, blah, blah. And then they get home and their wife just fucking turns into a terror. Just fucking gaslighting the kids forever. And then the husband doesn't do fuck all because he's afraid of his wife. So even if you are one of those, I hate these red pill guys, they're such misogynists, why can't they respect women? It's like, well, at the very least, learn to stand up to her so she doesn't fucking take it out on the kids. Do you really want kids that have been raised being yelled at by their mom? How do you think guys find their way to the red pill? Half the black manosphere is a bunch of dudes who had like a terrorist for a mom yelling at them with no dad to calm her the fuck down. And then they get it. And then they grow up and you wonder why they are like, I'm going to throw a White Claw at this bitch's head. And you're like, how do you think that happens? Dad who was afraid to stand up to mom. You know what I mean? Bro, I'm 155 wet. He's avoiding his own mirror. Yeah. And it's not like he is by accident. Because the whole point of the space, there was a lot of people telling him this stuff, right? It's not just, it gets painfully obvious to you and me, but some guys were like, yeah, flat out, dude, you're being lazy. Fuck, even I went in there at one point and noticed. I was like, holy shit. Even I told this guy to get his shit together. So he knows. He just refuses to do anything about it. And now because of that, his kids suffer. And the worst part is the way he dealt with it too, is like she'd start yelling at the kids. So he'd take the kids, he'd put them in another room. And then he starts apologizing for his wife. Hey, just so you know, your mom's just stressed. She really loves you. It's like a drug user. Some guy drugged out. And he's like, oh, it's just, he gets that way when he gets a little bit of the crack in him. He's still a good person. And it's like, my brother in Christ, man. Those kids are fucked. They don't stand a chance because you decided it was easier to read As the Man Cometh or whatever the fuck that book is. Yeah. Those guys need more emotional intelligence. If I held the manosphere to my ear, I could hear the ocean. You guys are harsh, man. Anyways, it was just funny because Weimar Pleased, he sent me a message. He's like, dude, have you seen this guy? And I'm like, which one? Who are you talking about? And then he sent me a link. And I clicked it. I'm like, oh, this guy. Yeah, I already did a Substack of this guy. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, here, give it a read. And he's like, oh, dude. And it's funny because I was like, yeah, if you want to use anything on that, feel free. He goes, no, I was taking it from a different angle. I was taking it from the angle of don't waste your time with people who waste your time. Because this guy here, any effort you would have spent on trying to help him help himself, you'd have wasted it. 100%. He would have dragged you down with him. He would have stalled. He would have delayed. He'd have complimented you. He'd been like Chat GPT. You're talking to Grok. You said you wanted no M dashes in your writing, and I agree. There's a horrible use of time. Anyways, here's your writing back, and it's like a bunch of M dashes. You're like, fuck this guy. You joke, Andrew. Here, look, let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, no, wait, I put a link to it. I even linked to it in the essay. I'll put a link in here. You guys can... Here's what I want you to do. Give me the thing, fucker. There it is. As the Man Cometh by James Allen. Supposedly, this is the original self-help book. Here's a link to it. Here's what I want you guys to do. Don't read it. It's fucking ridiculous. Just scroll to a random part. Random paragraph anywhere in the book. I don't even care where. And you tell me if you can parse what that means. I'm going to do it myself. That works. Visions and ideals. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so men, through all their traits and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It lives in them. It knows them as the realities in which one day see and know. The fuck does that even mean? I've been speaking English my whole life. I don't know what the fuck he's trying to say. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. The meek will inherit the earth. No, they won't. They haven't yet. So far, it looks like India is the saviors of the world. They're saving us from prosperity and clean streets. All right, a little on the R side. Take that back. To dream is to aspire, to obtain, to achieve. It's just, no, it didn't. It's a guy. It's just gobbledygook. And the problem is, it's like, it's written and designed to make you feel better. But you don't even know why. The music, it's almost like an incantation. It's like a magical Hogwarts spell. Idiotus! Faggotus! Wow, I feel great. And it's the one thing that has terrified me in my work if I ever start trying to sound intellectual or smart or using charts and graphs and studies, like seriously using them, not just passing references to them. Unironically showing, number going up and be like, see guys, you should have been doing it this way because look at this chart go up. Look at GDP if you just fucking kiss your wife's ass. It's like, because it's tempting. It always is. Everybody likes to think, as soon as you get like 3 or 4 you saved my life emails, oh dude, the urge to be like, I got this, man. I'm the second coming of Christ. And then you come in, you're like, you know what? I'm going to speak superfluously. I'm going to be pedantic. Because, you want people to think you're smart, so I'm going to use smart words. And it doesn't. It's like putting spinners on your rims. It only impresses people who have no money. People who have money see right through that shit. Same thing as here. If you want to be smart, you should be writing very simple. Very simple, because it means you understand things. Einstein had it right. If you can't explain it simply, then you don't understand it. You guys, I'm like ruining so many, like, oh, I used to love Coach Greg Adams or whoever, but like, oh, fuck, he does do that. Yeah. No wonder why this guy hasn't gone anywhere with his self-improvement. He's reading that Disney horse shit. You see what I mean? But that's the thing. It's not that the book caused him to fuck up, right? Book doesn't do shit. Books never do anything. It's that he's looking for that specific thing to resonate with what he's feeling. And he feels like he's the secret king. I'm the hidden gem. People just don't understand. It's the same narcissistic fantasy that everybody has. The difference is this one is a martyr. I'm so downtrodden. My wife just doesn't understand. She treats me like shit, but I pull through for the children, You mean those kids you're ignoring while she's yelling at them? Yeah, I love those guys. Those little guys are great. Well, they're crying right now. The one's going to see a therapist. Yeah, I make sure he sees a therapist every week because I love my kids. Yeah, when he fell down the stairs and bruised his eye like that, I made sure I got him an ice pack and I got to see him taken care of because I love my kids. It's like, it's just some sick shit, man. It's some sick shit. And it pretends to be not sick shit. And you realize if you fall for the tone of it, it sounds heartfelt. It's like, oh my God, this guy, this poor bastard, he's a victim. He loves his kids. He takes care of his kids. He does all this. Their kids have it so hard. He's like, why don't you just fucking fix the problem? Instead of doing this Munchausen shit where you shake your baby and then be like, oh my God, she's crying. I better fix that. Like, dude, don't shake your fucking kids. And they're selling them. Well, that's the thing. These are the guys that buy those memberships. Like, I'm not shitting on them. Zach's back, which is good for him. I've talked about it before. He's the guy that joined the Red Pill, same as me. He went took a break from the manosphere, did teaching for a while. Now he's back. And he's still got his same masculinity subscriber thing, which I hope it works for him. But it has the effort of that, where it's like, yeah, I want to make you feel really good about being a man. And I'll put your money where your mouth is. And I'm like, eh. Oh, and the meek shall inherit the earth is misinterpreted. The meek in this case are fully armed. Well, that would be very unmeek. It almost sounds like instead of saying the meek shall inherit the earth, it's the guy who begrudgingly is going to stab you with a bayonet will inherit the earth. I don't want to do this, man. Don't make me do this. I wonder if his wife beats him. No, I don't think she touches him at all, and that's the issue. Well, to be fair, there's sometimes when they have really big blowout fights when he feels all downtrodden, and then once she gets it out of her system, they have sex after that. It's type 2 captain thing. No, the 10-year-old super chat. Fuck, that one's funny. Hey, you saved my life. Tell me what to do next. Well, the trick to this is the war room of masculine excellence, sir. All your hopes and dreams will be there. Ask Nick about it. Yeah. And it's not like it. Look, and I get it, we're laughing at the guy, and it's funny. But like every guy is potentially this guy. The only difference is how quickly can you tell it's you and do something about it. Like over the years, I've known all types. We all have our stories, right? And there's been some guys who do this, and they always build a justification for it. And the justification makes perfect sense. Usually it's for like, well, the kids need 2 parents in the house, or, you know, the kids are almost going to move out. It's always something to do. Like, yeah, I want to deal with this. My wife's a bitch. She's frigid. She's cheating. She's drunk. She's whatever. She beats the kids. But here's the justification why I can't do anything about that. It's like, really? And it's not even like the only choice is to kick her to the curb, get her arrested. There's a whole bunch of shit between there. Like, obviously it's only illegal to beat your kids if you're a man. So fine. But a lot of guys, just the simplest stuff, just like learn to stand up for yourself, learn not to have a covert contract. Like, these are very simple stuff. And even if you're in a really shitty marriage with like a drug dealing, pill popping, cheating wife in the cuck chair kind of thing, even then, life will get better with some proper boundary enforcement, a little bit of vision towards what you want for yourself in the future, you know, some assertiveness, at least not being supplicative about it. It's baby steps, but it's a step. It's the same thing as the guy's lift. He's lifting 160 on his bench. I mean, it's more than nothing. And if you get to 165, that's an improvement. It's not enough, but it's better than being at 160. Or it's better than spending 6 years to lose 4 pounds and then gain it back. You know what I mean? So even then, I don't buy that. But again, a lot of very smart guys, a lot of professional guys, a lot of guys I knew who make more money than me. And I'm not making a pittance. I mean, it's Canadian cash, but it still counts. They're making like twice what I make. And they're still making some of this like very... It's easy to laugh at this guy, but realizing, picture this guy earning $250,000 a year in like the military as a commanding officer or something like that. Like, that's the kind of guys that are here. So while I do poke fun at it, I do understand at the same time, there's somebody out there who's like, this hitting a little too close to home. And he's got a great justification for why it has to be that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. And then, you know, some guys, usually it's like acute pain. It's almost always a case of we have to learn through pain. And they'll get to the point where, you know, like the wife stabs him, like Carl. My ex-wife stabbed me in the stomach with a fucking knife. And that's when I realized it was time to red pill for real. You guys remember Carl? Dude, does he sound like the kind of guy who didn't have frame, who didn't have his shit together, who didn't understand women, dating, all that stuff? He had his shit together, but he didn't start that way. He started just as bad as this fucking guy. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So as long as you're self-aware enough to figure it out. You know? And he did. And then he fucked off, which good for him. As you should. Save my life. Tell me what to do next. That makes me laugh, man. Anyways, that's still only half his wife's weight. Ryan seems pretty well off, like he's a Canadian Chest Rockwell. Oh, no. Chesty's doing far better than me. To be fair, though, Chesty's a lot older than me, too, so... Give me a decade, and I'll be doing Chesty good. But it's mostly because... Not because... I mean, he's been doing, like, lawyery stuff for a long time, so, you know, it's a hard thing to get in there. For me, it's mostly that and I don't even know if this is an accurate way of putting it, but I don't know how else to put it, is I do my best financially to not make mistakes. I may not make the best choices. I may not have an optimal thing, but I tend not to make bad choices. It's kind of like that rule of investing. You ever heard that one? The first rule of investing is don't lose money, which sounds smart and simple, but most people do lose money a lot. There's been times where I've left money on the table, but I've never lost money. So I'm like, I can live with that. Carl, one of the original 7, mad respect. Yeah, if he ever comes back, oh, dude, I would hound him to come back. I think it'd be so much fun. Just to hear how he's doing with his dog. I think he's got like a Jack Russell or something like that, which is like the arch nemesis of my guys. Iggy's hate Jack Russells because they're too touchy and high energy, and they're like, just don't fucking touch me, dude. But here's the thing. I'm not successful to the point that other people should be envious. I'm mid. It's like Sydney Sweeney. Oh, wow, he looks attainable. That's kind of it. Unlike the Sydney Sweeney of financial success. Attainably hot, wearing denim. You know what I mean? Chess kind of took it to a new level, but good for him. I think it's a great thing. Same thing. Wine More Please? Dude, I'll never catch up to Wine More Please, and that's fine. My brother, too. If my brother didn't spend so much money, he'd have been fucking crushing it, too. Then Nuke. I don't know how well Nuke's doing financially, but he's younger, too, so at the same time, give him time, and then we'll find out where he gets. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not really a contest. I personally want to see everybody that I've worked with and collaborated with in the red pill space. I want to hear that all of them are like wealthy beyond belief. To be fair, a lot of them are. Bogey D6, absolutely. Wine More Please, absolutely. Chesty, absolutely. Rolo, he does far better than you give him credit for, if you guys don't know. Really, really good. And to be fair, he's in like his 50s now, and you should see his work. The guy never stops moving. Even Clary's like, dude. And even Clary's like, I'm more like Clary in that he doesn't make bad financial decisions. He doesn't necessarily make like top tier decisions, but he doesn't make bad ones. And so it's just that over time. That slow and steady wins the race type. But yeah, Clary does far better for himself than he lets on, which good for him. And you should. I think that would be horrible if you found out that all of these talking heads and all these videos you listen to are just like fucking broke pieces of shit like John Anthony or Anthony Johnson. I still laugh, Rich Man. When he was talking about the time they were sorting out the Red Man group thing, it was him and Rolo and Rich, and they were having a meeting, and they went to Anthony Johnson's parents' place, and he was like, he just lived in his parents' basement. He had like a Zelda poster on the wall, and Rich was like, what the fuck am I doing here? It was the beginning of the end, man. Oh, it made me laugh. He got mad at that one too. It's like, dude, we're talking about real money. You can't even frame your poster? What the fuck? Yeah. But yeah, I would hate to see that guys not succeeding in this. Because it's not like... We're in a weird place where like it's never been easier to succeed. But at the same time, competition is higher too, so it's harder to succeed. And I also ultimately I think that's something to do with like potential IQ, whatever you want to throw it onto, where the people that do well are going to do really well in 2025. The people that don't do well are going to do really poorly in 2025. It's really a case of just separating the wheat from the chaff. It really is. Do you think that working out and hormone therapy help you make better financial decisions? How the fuck would I know, man? Like I don't know about the TRT thing. I'm not actually on anything, so I don't know. Rich seems to do well for it. It's not that not that I don't want to be, or I think it's cheating or anything like that. I just don't like the idea of, and apparently Marty has told me it's not the case, where once you get on TRT, that's it. That's it. You're on, and you can't get off again, which apparently is not entirely true. But that was just me. I don't like committing to like a lifetime of medical treatment, unless I absolutely have to. But as far as the working out and better financial decisions, I would say yes, but in a very specific way. What I have learned in my very small time being a market day trader, or whatever you want to call it, stock market, right? I'm actively managing my own investment portfolio. Call it whatever. And I've done pretty well. Some people have done better, but, you know, whatever. Never lost money. I've always done well. Definitely kept up with inflation plus some. I just wish... I never had some insider trading shit. I won't even say that. But like some stock choices, had I known about them earlier, I could have doubled the money. And I was like, son of a bitch. Good day, gents. Been enjoying the dog walker and Audible. Godspeed, mate, indeed. I'm glad you're liking it, sir. Like I said, it was that was crafted. That's the passion project. And I'm glad to see it was doing well. It lets me know there's hope I can get out of the fucking manosphere. What was I saying here? Oh, the stock stuff. Not losing money. Oh, working out. So what a lot of it is just fear. Carl and I talked about investing once, and he talks about savings and earnings and annual whatever and FICA scores. And I'm like, I don't know what any of that shit is. It's like, but I do know people. And so when I see stocks doing things, I'm thinking, what would somebody think? And a lot of it is psychology, especially in the short term. So like if I see a stock that I'm investing in and it goes up 20% higher than it's ever been, and there's not some like merger takeover, some amazing thing there, my first thought is, dude, I bet you anything that the people looking at this are like, oh dude, this must be the peak. I'm going to sell. And so I sell mine a little early, and then sure enough, the peak drops off, goes back like 10 points below where it was. And I'm like, oh dude, now somebody's going to look at this thinking, dude, they oversold and now it's undersold. I'm going to start buying it in too. And so I kind of just like ride those. Just oftentimes, like what would the average person think looking at this? And then I think, what's the best way to not lose money? Understanding that psychology. That's actually got me pretty far. So I'm pretty impressed. And again, maybe I'll lose money in the future. I don't know. So take this for what it's worth. It hasn't done me wrong yet. And then I always think the worst case scenario, I don't pick like super risky stocks, ones that could disappear or close down tomorrow. So like no gold mines or anything like that. But I always pick companies that, you know, worst case scenario, I'm pretty sure they're not going to go out of business. Like IBM, it's never going to go bankrupt. So if I make a bad call and maybe it's down 5 points, then I don't think of it as, well, I better take my money out and call it a loss. I'm like, well, I just wait until it gets back to that point. So even bad choices are just delayed choices. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. But the reason that I think working out works well for that is because if you're not working out or on TRT, you have a lot less testosterone going through your body. You tend to be a lot more neurotic. And neurotic people make a lot of fear-based decisions. And I don't think, like if you're prone to worry or fear or neuroticism, I don't think trading is for you at all. Like I understand the concept of you need to have ice in your veins. Don't freak out. I think if you could not freak out, you will at least, even if you make bad decisions, it'll be less bad than if you make them on fear. Because isn't that what the stock market is? Greed and fear and money. Put them into a zone, help them duke it out. And again, like I'm not talking about like fat stacks of millions here. I'm talking about somebody with like 100,000 in an investment portfolio or 200,000 in this or a retirement fund like this. You know what I mean? Yeah, dollar cost averaging. There's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so I think working out helps with that. At the very least, that's 45 minutes that you're not sitting there watching the stock ticker, waiting for it to hit a certain price. American Eagle stock gained like 20%. Turns out Baba's good. Did it really? I gotta check this. American Eagle was only at $10 a share? Jesus. Oh, yeah, dude. No, that's gone already. So yeah, I checked over the last month. It was at $10 a share until July. Then from the 21st to the 25th, it dropped to 12, and now it's back down to 10. So you see what I mean? They got some hype off of that Sydney Sweeney ad. And like, what would happen? Oh, the Sydney Sweeney ad. Everybody's going to think it's back because woke's being put in the bucket. So everybody threw money into it. And then it got to 12, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's the highest it's ever been. I better get out now. Bam, they drop it again. It's going to drop down again. It'll probably do another little tick up when people try to find its new price point, or its new price discovery, they call it. And then wherever it is, it'll settle down. Oh, dude, that's funny. So Gap is down 3 points, Lululemon down 4, Urban Outfitters is up 1, and Abercrombie and Fitch is down 5. But I mean, yeah, buy it, hold it, ignore the noise. Well, there's that too. That's another option. Like I said, I'm not going to fault you on that, but maybe it's because I just do with Canadian stocks. That doesn't really work as well here, at least not now, because we're in our lost decade of productivity. There's been one company that they just go up and down and up and down, and then you watch them over a 5-year period. Their stock is still at the same price as it was pre-COVID. So if you just left your money in there, wouldn't have done anything. So I don't know if that works. If you're going to do that, I would suggest you probably do one of those mutual fund, like index fund ones, because then you're just tied to the economy. Unless you're in Canada, because I wouldn't tie your investments to the economy because we've stagnated for like 10 years. Yeah, don't take my advice. We're in a very weird, like, how do you invest in Venezuela? I don't fucking know. Anyways, that's enough of that. I got some more shilling to do, and then we're going to take off. Dude, Softbone, how have you not bought it yet? It's really good. You will enjoy it. It is a dystopic cyberpunk fantasy book, but it's not like you were expecting. The big thing on it and the value add, and it really sucks to put on a promo, but it's worth it, is it respects your time. It's the one thing about modern books that I cannot stand, where they pad it with filler. They give you a bunch of descriptions of things, and you don't know if they matter or not. I think that's the worst part for me, is where here's 100 details, and you're like, which ones are important? And like, here's 100 details. I'm like, which ones do I need to know? And you don't know, and they don't tell you. And they don't give you any... There was something I learned out of Stanley Fish's book, How to Write a Sentence, How to Read One. Very inspiring, where he's like, yeah, hierarchy of information is important in a sentence structure. It's not just about giving me information. It's about allowing me to organize it into important levels of importance. And if I can't do that, then I don't know which ones are important. You're basically giving me a homework assignment. Here is 100 things that you need to know about this world, and there'll be a test on it later. Dude, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to fucking school to learn about my new cyberpunk world. No. So like and it's a little thing, but like give you the information that you need when you need it. So at the beginning, you need to know who the main character is, and you need to learn how to like him or not like him, and learn why you need to like him in the future, right? So his entire first chapter shows you how he's basically like this fucking guy I've been talking about on Substack for a while. He's politically correct. He's terrified of women. He's terrified, like femlaw in that case. He's neurotic. He's conflict avoidant. He can't even make eye contact with people. And yeah, so what are the details you know? He's in a large Faraday cage that blocks signals because, oppressive big brother can't get into it. So you know he's in a space that's not tyrannical. And that's what you know about New Kowloon. You know the name is New Kowloon. You know wireless signals can't get in. You know there's a authoritarian police called Femlaw, and they can't see what's going on in there. So he's on his own. And then he's terrified of that because he's been so used to being terrorized by Femlaw. It's almost like a safety blanket for him. He's like, yeah, here, if you want to have a problem with somebody, you just punch him in the face. And he's freaked out over that. And then he has to deal with this giant imposing man. And the guy's just friendly, doing his thing. He's kind of fucking with him a little bit. Fun-loving, dresses ostentatiously. And even that terrifies him, right? But that's the thing. There's like 4 details in an entire chapter. I'm not telling you the economic system. You don't find out until later, which are the big companies that kind of own nation states, like CCP, Samsung, Amazon. You don't find out what happened to Google. You don't find out about the war in the Ukraine until later on, stuff like this, because you don't need it yet. It's not important to know that there's a war going on in the Ukraine at that first part. You just need to know he wants to get some drugs. And then you find out weird things. Like, why is he... he's looking for stims. Everybody in cyberpunk remembers stims, right? That's like the generic term for cyberpunk drugs. He's going to get some stims. Cool. You're thinking some designer neurotoxin or whatever. No, what is it? It's coffee and Zyn. It's like, wait a minute. Why is coffee and Zyn illegal? And then you kind of start to put the pictures together, right? Oh, he went to this illegal place to get coffee and Zyn. And he's at a place where if you mouth somebody off, they get to punch you in the face. And you're not being constantly helicopter parented. And then you start to put it together. Oh, I get it now. I didn't explain the world, but you get it. Out there is like a helicopter mom. And in here is like your dad. Or like your buddies at college. In here, don't talk shit. Like all that stuff you think of as like a real man wouldn't talk shit behind a screen. He'd fight you for real. Oh, there you go. And then the guy's like, I don't like this. Like it's exciting. And he knows in his heart of hearts, he's like, dude, this, I should be here, but I can't my heart can't take it. And then he has to learn. And then sure enough, he's in there. What does he know how to do? He only knows how to use his red pill tools for blue pill goals. He goes in there in the chapter 2 and he's trying to talk to a girl that he's hooked on the internet. He's found a girl online. He's like, I love this chick. And then she's trying to get him to join her in an adventure. And he's like, nah, I can't. And he kind of blows her off and she yells at him. And he's like, oh. Because he's been so used to just being berated that when a chick gets angry at him, it kind of turns him on. And then you kind of learn more about the character. But again, there's not a lot of details of the world. You get to fill that in as you see fit. So any detail that you learn is going to matter. So you don't have to keep 500 things in your head, which makes it easier for you. You don't have that. They call it like a mental stack. It's an old gaming term. You don't have to keep a lot of ideas in your head. You keep like 3 ideas in your head, which is great because then when you read things, you see how it ties into the first idea or the second idea or the third idea. And you're like, oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I don't like how that was done. But the point is you have the cognitive capacity to both sit here and read and turn your brain off and just let the story take you through, while at the same time deciding for yourself if you like this connection, if you don't like this connection, if you're making this connection at all. It makes you an active participant in your own reading. And that was the thing that I found interesting, is when you get to be an active person in the story. Because then it gives you something to do. It's not TV. And I think that's the problem with a lot of stories, is people write like it's a television show. Television, you just sit there and watch it, and you just let it absorb in. Very hot medium, right? You don't have to think for yourself. The story will tell you everything. Cold mediums, books, that's their whole appeal, is that you do get to use your brain. You get to think about it. Radio, same thing. The radio guy will describe a baseball game, and you get to think in your head what that's like. And that gives you an active role, and that makes you more invested into it. And it's the one thing I love about it, is that, yeah, I can write a pretty good story. I'm not Hemingway, but I'm also not Colleen Hoover. But I should be. I would love to be Colleen Hoover, but I'm not. But as good as I could do it, what you guys can picture in your head is going to be far better than anything I could put on a page, flat out. So the best thing I can do as an author, and this is like the thing I've gone by, and it's kind of tagged into my Red Pill stuff too, is to give you the tools to do something that you're better at than me anyway. Like, I can't put the perfect story in your head, but I can put the framework that you can fill with the perfect story in your head. And you're not going to tell. And it's like, there was this date I went on, this chick in Vancouver. Nicole was her name. She was fucking smoking. I took her. She was the one I talk about that I brought on that diplomatic function in Vancouver and like showed off to the officers. Like, this is how you're supposed to fucking mingle with diplomats, asshole. She was a bit of a ditz. But I remember she was the smartest girl I ever met. And she wasn't smart at all. She was actually fucking dumb as shit. Dumb as a bag of rocks. Very cute, Italian looking, bag of rocks. But what she did do that was really cute was that she would ask me questions about things she knew I was interested in, and then she would let me run my mouth and show interest in as I was talking. And through that, I started to think, this is the smartest girl I've ever met. We share so many of the same interests. It's like, no, you idiot. She lets you run your fucking mouth about stuff you care about, and then you associated all that with her. Like, fuck, that's brilliant. Same thing for stories. Coffee and Zen, still a better combo than PB and J. Yeah. So I think, and that's the thing that I liked about it too, whereas like everybody talks about cyberpunk and everybody likes to make these high tech, designer nanotech drugs and stuff like that, and that sounds cool and it's technobabbly. I'm like, it's like, what would you really do in a cyberpunk world? It's like, oh, you banned everything masculine. You made a very feminized world, because as our tech has gotten better, what have we done but civilized people? So just roll with it. So there's only 3 drugs, I think, in the story that I talk about, like illegal drugs. There's coffee, there's nicotine, there's caffeine, and then race hams. Like those nootropic things. And I'm like, those are the 3 drugs that guys always love talking about doing. The legal ones are ones for chicks. Xanax, Ambien. Fucking hilarious. Vaccine treatments. Fake vaccines that don't work and kill people. Just saying. it just sucks that COVID died off. Because I was like, fuck, man, if we were like in the middle of COVID and this thing came out, the timing would have been better. So yeah. I like the first chapter and the guy's real name, a dystopian longhouse. Yeah. I was worried actually that was going to be on the nose. So like the character's name is Jakov Longhouse. But like Chinese spelling of long, Luong. I actually had a guy in college that was named Long Vin Phuong. Or yeah, Long Luong. That was his name. Vin Phu or something like that. It's like a Vietnamese Chinese thing. And then Nick and I were talking. It's like, it's like, you remember in Blade Runner how like everything was a mishmash of Japanese and German and that. It's like, why don't you go with that? And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. That's how language would evolve if you have like a globally homogenized society where, German words and Chinese thrown together. And then Haus, like Haus, like a German name. So Longhaus. But it's Longhouse. And so you ultimately kind of get that little like nod to the Longhouse. So if you're in the know, you're in the know. And then the fact that his name is Jakov, it's just Slavic. But I mean, Jakov. Like, you get it, right? And I was like, this is a little on the nose. He goes, no, it's fine. As the reader understands it, like, on the nose is fine, that you don't have to make everything a mystery. Yeah, strategic lash batting is art. It is. Well, no, it's like a Jackov. Jakov. Or Jakov. And there's and it eventually gets to Jack Long, which that's the... But I always like that too, where it's... So I like the idea of things having a reason for existing, but I hate the idea of people dragging it out. Like, how did Yoda get his lightsaber? And they make a whole TV series based on like one small detail in something, and it's got this long drawn out thing. I liked the premise. I hated the execution. And so the idea of him going from Jakov Longhouse to like Jake Long, it's done in a way that makes sense, but I don't dwell on it. It's like almost like a throwaway thing. Oh, you're Jake Long now. Why is that? Oh, it's because you're dead. Something like that. I always like that kind of stuff too. And then it's good because like there's all these little symbols that he has in his life about why he's like Longhoused, why he's like the fucking guy from the Substack article. And then as the story progresses, things happen. Like his name has to get changed. He has an eye patch later on, but you find out why. And so it's like, and there's like a theme in there of the ship of Theseus. How many planks can you pull out when it's still the same ship? And so it kind of plays heavy into that. And you like literally he's falling apart and being put back together as his personality and motivations and character flaws are being removed and put back together until you get to the very end. And again, that's the part I love, is where they give a callback to the very beginning, a very similar scenario to the beginning one, and his difference in acting in it compared to how he was when he first started as this neurotic longhouse man to now where he's a self-actualized guy who's got his shit together. Yeah, that reminds me, Esperanto went nowhere. That is true. It did go nowhere. Yeah, and then the whole time, I don't explain things unless they need to be explained. And it's one of those things, like writers never ask me, and why would you? But the one thing I found is nice is that as I'm writing, like I talk about and I'm going to end soon because we're way over time, but like a series of decisions to make, right? So I have to make a decision. I need the character to grow. So I separated the book into 6 acts. 6 acts, each 3 chapters per act. And then the idea was the first 2 acts, he's longhoused. Second 2 acts, he's kind of learning to handle freedom, masculinity, all that stuff. And then the last 2 acts are him dealing with the consequences of having grown as a person. So then by act 3, I'm like, okay, by here, he needs to have not be longhouse, but not self-actualized. So I'm like, I look at all of his traits and all the symbols I use, and I'm like, all right, so I need to change this to here, make sure he acts this way here, and that gives me an idea. So I need a scene where he needs to learn to stand up for himself, or I need to add a scene where he's willing to not get manipulated by women or something like that, right? And so I kind of know I need to have this, and this happen in these 6 chapters. And so then I just spread them out. All right, I put 2 of them here, 2 of them here, 2 of them here. Good. But then I realized, okay, so here he's learning this skill, but he's got no, and then like, oh, would it be great if it was from, he had something to do with, like an implant he got changed his outlook on life or something. All right. But now I got to figure out a reason for him to have that implant. I can't just introduce that everywhere. So I have to go back a couple chapters and I'm like, I'll introduce it here when it's like a detail that doesn't matter. And this is what I mean about the details that matter in the world building. So like I need to give him an implant in chapter 6. So what I'll do in chapter 4 is I'll introduce the idea of the implants. So that way when it happens in chapter 6, it makes sense. And that's the part I love about this. Then I go back, I'm like, okay, so when he's talking with somebody has an implant, talks about it, whatever. And then remember when I talked to you at the beginning, where when you hear these details about the world building, every detail is important. And that's generally how I world build. I need the character to do this. In order to do this, I need to give him this, this, and this, and have this happen to him. All right, none of these things make sense on their own, and there's no Deus Ex Machina, so I'm going to introduce them earlier on. And so I pick earlier spots where I've already got the character needs to do this, this, and this, and I'll introduce this concept that's going to come up 2 chapters later. So then by the time you get to it, you just see all of these details. You're like, I wonder which ones are important. I'm like, they're all important. And then sure enough, you get your setup, and then a chapter later you get your payoff, or even sometimes in the same chapter. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. Because then I could be just subtle about it. Because sometimes it's like, you didn't even notice that this was an important detail until later on when it pays off. You're like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, they did talk about that earlier. I love that shit, man. When I read other people doing that, I fucking love it. So I'm like, I'm going to pepper the shit out of this one. And sometimes it's just like throwaway lines. Like one character that he aspired to be earlier on says something. It sounds really cool. And the jack off guy's like, I can't do that. I'm too much of a bitch. And then at the end of the thing, he has like a justified reason for saying it. Yeah, you set that up earlier on because I saw it at the end. I'm like, this would be great. Why don't I just set it up earlier? And that's why I understand. This is one thing. If you ever write a book, here's my last piece of advice that I got that worked for me. Start with the ending and work back. Work backwards from there, because that's how you do really good setups, I find. When you start at the ending, all the cool shit you want to do all the cool shit. And then you just learn to start peppering the setups for it earlier on. And then that allows you to have everything logically follow from beginning to end. Like I said, that's kind of how this one was written. So look, I can't shill this any... I'm going to, but I can't shill this any harder. It is a great read. I've read it 3 times myself, and that's just... Like, I read it once for recording the audiobook. I read it once just to read it. And then a 3rd time to check any last-minute errors. 'Cause there's always, like, a period missing or a B instead of a he kind of thing. 3 times. I still enjoy it. I'm probably going to read it again when I get the new paperback in. Because it's different than this one. Like, if you haven't read in a long time, like if the last thing you read was The Hardy Boys, you'll enjoy it. Because I enjoyed it. If you read all the time and you find like, do I have ADHD or something? Because I just can't get into books. I get you. I'm the same way. I got into this. I got to thank Delicious Tacos. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even think it was possible. I thought there was something wrong with me. Then I read his book and I'm like, oh, dude, it's not that. It's just that books suck because his is good and I can get through it. Yeah, maybe. Oh, wait, the strategic. Is there a jack me off? No, it's not quite that goofy. If anything, I kind of went almost a little too generic with the names, which I could have changed it, but I didn't want to. I like the idea of some of that stuff was unimportant. So like the important characters' names, yeah. Jackoff Longhouse. That's an important detail, so I left it in there. The female character that he meets early on, her name is Fatale. Like femme fatale. But, you know, like some of the other guys, like Buck, Nancy, Han, there's nothing intrinsic about their names that I want to articulate as themes in the book. So I just left them as very, like, you can't get more generic than Nancy, Buck, and Han. They're easy to remember. They're differentiated enough. And I kind of like the idea, like there's a few times where, and this is just me as like a personal flavor thing. Yeah, we're talking about a futuristic sci-fi dystopia. And just the idea of a character named Nancy. I don't know why, man. It just makes me laugh. No matter how futuristic and high-tech and nanotechnology things get, there's always a John Smith somewhere. But here's the thing, Bones, and I'm ending on this. Maybe I'm amazed I can barely read a grocery list. Dude, I was illiterate when I first got into the sphere. I've told you guys this story. Everything I've written for like the last 12 years, 13 years was military messages. I didn't use the word of, than, and, or fully spelled out sentences in a decade. And so it was like learning from scratch. Yeah, don't you love it when you're fond of your own creation? It's like a puppy. Yeah, I mean, I want to like them a little bit less because I want to treat it more like a business. Because if they don't achieve the level of success I think they deserve, I'll probably have a meltdown over it. So I think I need a certain level of detachment from it. But I do enjoy liking it. It's definitely helped me in choosing things to read from other people too. Because now I know better what I like and what I don't. But I'm not saying this to brag. Anybody can do this. In the same way that anybody could red pill. But that guy wasted 5 years reading So the Man Cometh and whatever. You can do it. You just have to make a decision. You have to stick to it. You have to shed your ego. Read the sidebar. And even for writing, it's the same thing. There was a sidebar there. It's like 3 or 4 books I'd recommend for people just to learn how to structure stories together. And that's my last payoff. This is what I'm going to end on. I love when you can take the red pill stuff, sexual dynamics, male sexual identity, blah, blah, blah. And then you start applying it in other things. It's the same process for me red pilling myself that it was for me learning how to write a book and sell it to you guys and have you guys enjoy it. Who knows? There's probably all kinds of business endeavors out there that you guys are perfectly capable of just crushing it. Just crushing it. And all it's taking is just like a framework for you to do it in a systematic way. Because the competition sucks, man. You think, like Starbucks, you can make a better coffee than Starbucks. You can. Starbucks doesn't care. You can make a better hamburger than McDonald's because McDonald's doesn't care. You can make a better book than Colleen Hoover because Colleen doesn't care. Although in fairness, she's not even a bad writer. It's just she's a very... The part that I don't like about it is it's kind of like a reality TV show. You know that one? Where everybody like flat out has a conversation. It's like, hey, just so you know, my motivations are this and I'm thinking this and I like this. And the other person's like, well, that's interesting because I'm also thinking this and my motivations are this. And I'm just like, I get who that appeals to. But at the same time, I'm like, it drives me nuts. But she's also like a billionaire, so who am I to judge, right? Nick informed me my grammar is terrible and I couldn't disagree. My grammar is terrible and I don't disagree. Here's the thing. That doesn't matter. Do you know the hard part about stories is not knowing the English language? You can hire an editor. I hired an editor. I hired Nick and Nick fixed it and I gave him money. And because I pay him promptly and because he fixes it adequately, everybody's happy. But he mentioned this once because the funniest part is when I was reading this. I was supposed to stop. I have to stop because Rule Zero's coming up. There's a couple places in here that he changed the wording for things that I actually liked better. I'm like, dude, I wish I could write like that. He goes, like, you did 90% of it. For me to make like a small tweak to a certain sentence to make it flourish better or to make it sound cooler or to have the prose flow better, that's relatively easy once you understand English. The hard part is like getting everything else in there first. So yeah, don't worry about your grammar. That works itself out. As long as the person can get what you're saying, it can be fixed. Yeah, that and shilling like a pro. The Lincoln Chair editor. Fair enough. All right, anyways, that's it. Here, I'll put a link. It's going to be in the chat. If you guys haven't, here's what we'll do. Don't believe me. S:// Don't believe me. I'm going to tell you it's the greatest thing ever, but if it was a piece of shit, that's also what I would say. So you can't trust me. People are reading it. People will get back to me. People will get back to you. People will talk about it. Just see what other people are saying about it. Make your own decision. Fuck, get the sample. Get the Kindle sample. They give you that. You can read the first chapter for free, basically. If the first chapter doesn't hook you, don't fucking buy it. Because look, that's my whole job. My whole job is to get you hooked within the first 2-3 pages. And if I can't do that, I wouldn't trust me with the rest of it either. But I'm confident enough in that. So we'll see. Anyways, have fun, boys. Rule Zero, I think Jack was gonna do it, but he had some stuff going on, so he had to turn it over to probably Nuke or something. Yeah, so Nuke's got it. I'll link it too. We'll go right there afterwards. Enjoy yourselves. I'll talk to you later. Content-wise, I'm slowing down for a little bit. I'm trying to enjoy some life here. So 8 Million Ways to Die is a new video coming up on Orion on Sunday. And I'm probably going to switch over to a 2-week schedule as opposed to 1 week for videos. The next one, so I'm in like neo-noir, hard-boiled shit. So 8 Million Ways to Die is this week. The next one I'm going to do is most likely To Live and Die in LA. And then What's the other one I was going to do? I have to go check my notes. But yeah, that one. So there's going to be a lot of like slower paced melodrama ones. Because I think from stories, I kind of like sometimes slowing down and watching a slower paced thing as opposed to like fast paced hardcore action stuff that I also love, and science fiction and stuff. So yeah. There we go. So anyways, you guys have fun. I'll talk to you soon. You know what? I haven't done a Red Morning ad in forever. Let's make fun of one person before we go. And of course it's me. Who am I going to pick? Who do you think I'm going to pick? Fucking Stedman.
I love the way girls smell. I love how they always make sure, by and large, they shower, and they just have an amazing smell to them in general.
I'll never not make fun of that ex-con. Anyways, that's it for me. Depending on which one sells better, Dog Walker or Softbone, the next book is either going to be a sequel to one of those or an entirely new book. I think my working title is going to make it like a Western. Or possibly fantasy, but I'm thinking a Western. Yeah, Jeff Bridges, Andy Garcia. You remember it. Cheers.
'79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take 1.
40 years of my life